and welcome to another episode of The Flank. All right, I'm joined by Patrick Price, aka Aches, Chris Duarte, other known as Parasite, and of course, the one and only Mr. Benjay Nassim. Gentlemen, how's everybody doing today, man? You guys doing all right? Feeling good? How many fucking Game 5s are we going to get through? How many fucking
We've
Game
had
5s?
something like 15 of the last 18 series have been Game 5. I've never seen anything like it. Before we start off, does everyone agree? Is this the craziest Call of Duty event of all time?
So far,
of all time, you think so? You think
so
so, Chris?
far, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that would kill is if the finals is like a snooze, because like I think a good finals can make up for a shitty event, in my opinion. But like if a finals is a wash, like that's gonna be kind of
Then move down the list,
sad.
but right now it's up there. Go ahead,
I
Pat.
don't know. You keep saying crazy, but almost every match is just as I predicted. I don't know. To me, the Game 5s are crazy. Don't get me wrong, but the results, they're looking good.
Yeah, I mean, gee, Pat's so
Oh, wait.
annoying, bro.
Pat's, listen, Pat's going to have, I'm just waiting for
They're
Pat's
looking
takes
good.
in the middle of this show.
They're gonna be horrible.
I
They're
mean,
gonna be
let's-
amazing.
Let's talk about it. Rokkr,
No, we gotta get to that
Seattle,
series
like
first.
just bro.
Hey, we'll
like
get
I
there.
said,
We'll get there.
Save the take.
early,
Save your
but
takes,
never
Pat,
wrong.
save your
But
takes.
never wrong.
We'll get into it, but yeah, we had a long day. Cobb been live for about 10 hours, so we definitely want to hop right into this one. We got 5 matches to get through. Got some key points in some maps, and we're kind of just gonna skim through it like always. So let's switch on over and let's get right into the news. We got Bocage Hardpoint, Tuscan SD, Tuscan Control, Tuscan Hardpoint, Berlin SD. We got the Paris Legion going up against Atlanta fucking FaZe. And this one actually went all the way down to a last map. Were you surprised by that? Any of you guys surprised by it or what?
Yeah, I was.
I was
obviously
surprised, too.
surprised. I was more surprised, bro. FaZe can't win a damn Tuscan hardpoint on P1. Like
Yeah, their
they're
P1s are
their
terrible.
P1 breaks
Someone
are
tweeted
horrendous.
to me earlier today that like FaZe's online versus offline record on Tuscan Hardpoints. They've lost like only twice online, but they've lost a lot offline. And yeah, I think when we get to the Tuscan, I think the troubles continue on the P5 to P1 chain. But a really nice mixy Bokash to start off. FaZe get out to a good lead, and then Paris do a good job battling back. And this one's pretty back and forth.
Kinda. I thought FaZe was dumping on them, to be honest. I mean, the game, the scoreboard looked a little bit close towards the end, like the actual score. But I felt like MC had 40. You know what I'm saying? This guy was having a fucking field day out here. So, in my opinion, I thought FaZe just looked like on a whole nother level against Paris in his first Bocage. But what did you think, Pat?
Yeah, I think the same thing. I think they were kind of just playing with their food almost in terms of slaying. Score gets close, but I think FaZe were in full control of this game the whole time.
Yeah, dude, Celium, the one thing I'll say about him, yeah, he's good. He does good versus every team. He's disgusting. I think he's the best player in this game individually, but he is a noob slayer. Like, dude, when he plays a team that is just like doesn't have like that much crazy talent, he literally is unguardable. Like it's like he's dude, no bullshit.
I know
he's
exactly
just
what you mean.
unguardable. He's a noob slayer, bro. That was actually a title that we used to give people whenever we did back in the day with COD events.
You know, it's sorry, Tom. You know, it's funny. It's funny, Chris, because people got really annoyed about our takes about MC on the show yesterday, and he went last map and went undefeated and dropped like a 12-0 bomb. So I think to your point, yeah, MC's like all around this year has been sort of their best player in all the series.
100%. When he struggles, it's a completely different FaZe team. Like they are, I literally said the Celium bailout. Like, yeah, FaZe has really good players and stuff like that, and they're still like a top, like arguably the best team in terms of the consistency factor and their placements currently. But I feel like this team this year without him would be fucked, like real bad.
Yeah, they have problems right now. Just like they don't all like they can all fry at any time, but sometimes somebody will be slacking, and they've all slacked every single except for MC.
Yeah,
this whole
except
year,
for MC.
The other 3 have had periods where they were in slumps.
I mean,
And
to be honest, that's the reason I think they've gotten second so much is we haven't seen an Abizi have a grand final that we know he's capable of having. Like every grand final, it's literally he's been like thrown up like a 0.8 neg 30 plus bomb, and that's just like so unlike him.
Yeah, no, he's definitely. I feel like this event though, he's moving different. I don't know, he just looks good.
It's usually that's always the case, and then the finals come, and it's not like Abizi's not a finals player. Obviously, we've seen what he can do. It's just this game, this year, he's been lackluster in finals.
Yeah. Well, we'll take a look at the Paris Legion. Or not take a look, but we'll listen in on the Paris Legion. Listen in and see how the boys sounded as this is their last series ever on Vanguard. So let's tune in.
Street cell. He's on the barrel cell. He's on the barrel cell. You want help?
I'm trying. Yo, he's on A5.
Low P5 cell. He's going back to top.
A5 Arsenal's weak.
Going back top P5.
MC's spawn capping me. He's still on the
One
street.
shot time, barrel. You gotta
Slow down, use our teamwork.
Low right wall.
trying to get
I'm
to
trying to get out left. I don't see him street.
Might go tunnel. One's watching A5. One trapping A5 tunnel.
He's still on me.
We have to kill.
He's
He's
on
done B-hop. Done B-hop
He's
on me.
going A plat.
Yo, one shot hot simp.
There's two.
Another one close. He's literally
Smart move.
right close.
So not that long of a listening, but I think right off the bat we could tell that Donnie and the Paris boys were definitely a little bit compromised in this second rotation of hard points. This is kind of where FaZe just started to bully them and kind of take over. What did you guys think? Sounded pretty compromising to you guys, no?
That's just how Donnie sounds, or whatever. He's just like you can hear it at the end of his voice, like the way he accents his like remarks. He's just frustrated.
Yeah, he's super frustrated. But what do you guys think? I mean, this is it for Paris. That's it. They go
Thank
to
God.
they're done. They're done. Their year is over. Paris Legion will be no more. No more Paris Legion. That name is done. But it's the same people, right? So it's going to Vegas. The team's moving to Vegas.
I hope it's not the same people.
I think it is, bro.
I pray every day that Donnie can just get up out of there, bro.
The way I see this, if this like team still continues to I guess budget their rosters terribly, I don't know what they're gonna do. I hope that if they do decide to budget their rosters, they go into challengers and try to at least get a team that's kind of like put together maybe towards the end of the year, like people that actually want to play with each other and not just pick up like randos or
they
just
have to drop some money to do that.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Bro,
no,
it goes two ways, Chris. Look, this Vegas move is what's going to happen here. It goes one of two
You're
ways.
cutting
Like,
out, Ben, so just make sure you're talking into your mic.
I'm sorry. Is it better now?
Yeah, you're good. Just keep going.
So
You're kinda like-
I agree with you, Chris. Right now, they don't have a coherent like game plan to me. Like you can do the budget thing, but at least have a 2 or 3 year plan. I don't know if Don kind of fits in that plan if they're going to go down that challenges route, like you said. But the wild card with this Paris org and maybe soon to be Vegas org is if ownership changes or the ownership decides to spend more money, they're going to be in a very prime destination to attract free agents. Suddenly their position within the market will change. So very curious to see what happens over the next like 6 to 8 weeks and starts their roster.
Wait,
but if we don't,
hold
last thought, if we don't hear anything about them, bro, we're not going to get this roster like probably until like November.
Wait,
they've always had the rosters last minute.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm not letting this slide. What do you mean they're going to be in a prime location to attract free agents? No one gives a fuck if they're in Zimbabwe.
As long as they're getting
paid.
Yeah,
would you rather live in like?
No one cares, bro.
No. Actually, people do care. Would you rather live in Vegas or would you rather live in like say Minnesota?
They don't have a facility. They're not going to provide housing for their players.
Yeah, exactly.
No one gives a fuck what title is on that team name because of the management behind it, their track record, the fact that they've retired every player that's been through that organization outside of Kismet. They could have the best name city in the world. No one wants to play there.
Best case.
I think that's cap.
It's not so much about the cities. It's more about just the paper, man. The contracts. What are they being offered? What's on paper? Nobody gives.
Which
a fuck.
we know, 50K.
Nobody gives a fuck.
No housing.
If they're in Minnesota in the negative degree cold. If they're on a fucking $300,000.
This is the way I see it. If Paris, if you're a pro, right? Granted, I know some of these people will just be happy to be on a team. You're selling your fucking life away, in my opinion, by doing that and just like settling. But for amateur teams that truly actually want to just play with each other and don't care, they just want an opportunity in the league. Because at least I don't know if it's the same case for Vanguard, but at least like I'll go back to the Cold War thing with like the team with like Spar, Mohawk, like Saints, like those guys. Like they had a good opportunity to, I feel like, get on a team together. At the very least, when you're on Paris, the only people you got are yourselves. So like if you're an amateur team, try to propose an offer to the roster. If you're fucking like one standalone pro and you take up a team like that, like out of being desperate, like I think you're just trolling. Like you're just throwing yourself away.
I want to follow up on this market thing really quick though, Ben, because like you can say that same conversation about like LA, right? You think LA is a great market, but for what we do and who we are, being in LA is terrible. Like it's actually terrible.
Yeah. You
have the highest cost of living. You have the highest taxes. Like it's not like these guys are going out every day. Like they're playing. They're at a disadvantage with internet. Like in reality, the city for the players doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. like what Chris said, it's money. It's money and it's team. Like, can you have a good team? And I think with Paris, if they're always on the min, no matter where they are, they're always going to be stuck with either challenger players or the leftovers, and that's it.
Exactly.
Until they
think that's a
raise
fair
their
point.
salary, that's all they get. That's
that's my
all they
case.
get.
If
I
you're
think
gonna
that's
sign
a fair point.
One at a time. One at a time.
The only thing I'll say, I think it's a fair point about location. It's a good call out for those that are like unaware, like especially the LA based teams have to play on a Denver or Texas server, and it's a real disadvantage ping situation playing. I think though to the Vegas situation again, like I think you can kind of do sort of the low budget sort of situation Florida. I think there's another team that's kind of dealing with that, but they built like sort of a solid team that can get top 8. Paris hasn't really sniffed a consistent top 8 for their entire franchise history in the CDL. So step one is regardless of what route you're going, like their strategy for the roster needs to be.
And do you want to why? Do you want to why? And I literally I said this about them before. I proposed to Paris last year, and I know many other amateur teams did, a solid roster that made sense. Granted, it was a risk, right? It wasn't like people that were like, for example, Donnie or old pros, right? So it might have looked weird to them, but at the same time, the very least is they're people that want to play with each other. They're not just desperate for any contract. They wanted to play each other or with each other, right? When the Paris situation, what they do every single year is they pick up a team or they pick up players that don't want to play with each other. They're settling for just anybody just to get a contract and trying to make it work. So they already build, they don't build on a foundation. They don't build around a team that already has some sort of established chemistry. They're just like throwing fucking a bag at random people and hoping that they eat, right? It's like trying to build a puzzle with like different pieces from like, you get what I'm trying to say? Like,
No,
it's just it's stupid.
I don't disagree with you at all, Chris. Like they could have gotten a Texas Nation roster. They would have been a pretty solid team.
Yeah, like that. They could have got the champs from Cold War. They could have got like even Pander, like the Pander like team. Like they've always done, like they've always been at the end of the year the top 2, right? Like Pentagram, Godorex, was it Pander? Like that core 3. They always have success in challengers, have a lot of chemistry, always want to play with each other. Like there's a lot of options that they could have like taken that, in my opinion, would have put up a better fight than their like little put together teams. There's a reason they've won. They've won one series, or they didn't even win a series, right? They're still on that streak of not winning series.
Yep, they finished the season like a 12
something.
Bro,
yeah,
I don't care what
loss.
anyone says. Like,
Yeah.
you look at the amateur teams. You look at the amateur teams at the pro am, and like some of those teams like had a realistic possibility of like winning series with like no experience in the pro league. While like Paris like has more experience in the pro, like the actual like teams they put together get a lot more experience in the pro league, have a lot more practice, show up to these fucking tournaments, and like they might have a chance every like 3 series to win. It feels like. Like it's bad. Like I don't know. It's just stupid.
Well, let's talk about the map a little bit. You know, the first half of this map, as I was kind of skimming through it, it felt like Paris was just had so much aggression on them. They were getting a lot of map control, and I feel like FaZe started to adapt to it towards the end half of the game, as you just saw right there. Them just 4-hitting mid map. And just kind of putting that pressure on them. And it's always good to see teams adapting midway through. But once we get to this round 11, this is kind of where Paris were able to retake here. And I actually really like the route from Tom. So you can see FaZe, they get this A bomb down, or they go for the plant here. And I'm thinking that FaZe is going to have this in the bag. Usually when you have this bomb go down and you're set up, it should be the round one. But I like the routes they take here. You can see Paris, they're going to hit through that P5. I was surprised at number 1 here once the bomb went down. And I was surprised MC didn't turn. Once the bomb goes down and Abizi gets out, Cell can now turn away now and look at his back. So I thought that was a little bit of a misplay. I don't know what you guys think, but
he's I don't know. He got tunnel
zoned
vision or
out.
something.
He tunneled or blacked out or something, because that pinch is open for a minute now. But this is kind of where Paris was able to kind of swarm on through. They just worked the flank. They worked some kills, and Paris, they were able to close out a map. Be honest, did you think Paris had a chance in this series after this map? Because I thought they did. Yeah, I felt like Paris.
Paris has played. Listen, to Paris's credit, these last like 3 or 4 series have all been game 5ers, and they're just not able to close last maps. They've had opportunities to win a few of these. It's just.
Yeah, you got a 10-8 from Tom Gravity and 11-9 from Johnny. And Ben, you were telling me you were impressed with Johnny today. You thought he played really well.
Yeah, Johnny's stat line wasn't amazing at the end of this, but like
they were all around the same thing.
I was impressed with the speed and the just sort of the positioning of Johnny and just his aggressiveness. Like it was a good showing from him on his last series of the year. So hopefully you can carry that forward to his future gaming career next season.
Yeah, we get into the Tuscan control after Paris is able to win the round 11 phase. They have a comfortable defensive win to start things off on Tuscan. And then I hear here at the end of this offense, it was just a beezy. I mean, look at the plays he fucking makes. He starts lighting people up. People were very angry with him when he was shooting bodies. I personally enjoy it. I think it's entertainment. What do you guys think about this whole shooting bodies gimmick? People are getting really toxic when he did that, especially in my Twitch chat.
I mean, he was shooting Don's body. I think these guys have a history versus each other. So
I think so. I think it's just bias in terms of just like a hater thing for FaZe, and I'm not trying to like point anyone out. But for example, like I always go back to this argument: if Scump did it, would people cheer? You know, they fucking would. It's
Bro,
not,
I think that's
not
irrelevant.
That's not a hater take.
I-
Nah,
I'm
he
just saying.
would,
That's just how,
Scump would still get roasted a little
Wait,
bit.
I
People
but
think
yeah,
that's
by like the
irrelevant.
very by a minority, like a
Wait,
fucking
wait.
minority.
I think what you're saying is irrelevant. I think it's just the
How
fact
so?
that the world has gotten soft. It's getting softer every day. We see tweets about teabagging being toxic in video games. It's the same thing. Like we're in a competitive atmosphere. Players should and can do everything they can to get an advantage, even if that's trying to, get in your
Well,
opponent's head.
that is also
that's
true.
That's just the reality of the world, bro.
That
like,
is also true, but like
it
it's
doesn't
just
matter who's
it's
shooting
gonna
bodies.
this team,
it's
this
gonna
team
be
does have
worse
a rep
because
though, Chris.
it's gonna be
No.
worse because of FaZe.
Yeah, this team has a rep. I was gonna bring up like the Thieves situation from last year, right? They 3-0 Thieves, and it was in the control, and they just ran around with knives at the end, trying to knife the last.
Yeah, but
The
it's
history of
it's just gonna be
history in
worse
the
because
first-
FaZe.
In,
FaZe is
in
the
Modern
villain.
Warfare, Chris, remember they were the first team to start assassinating people on land.
Yeah.
Like they've
They
they've owned
assassinated
that lane
me,
for a
man.
minute.
I was one of those victims.
I mean, either way, I'm just
Oh,
saying
no,
they're
Tom.
just the villains that the CDL has made, and
Bro, the guy got a
anything-
3-piece, and it was a pretty
anything-
sick one. Like
oh,
he's
that was
trying
a
to
sick one, right?
hype up himself, get the crowd hype, bro. Like crowd should be
Yeah.
loving it. No one should be thinking that's toxic. That should be like you should want every player, if they do something like that, to do that, to get a crowd reaction.
Yeah, showboating is a part of any sport, dude.
Yeah.
And like if you get offended by that, like that's just that in my opinion that's
This
just
guy
super
Pat
cringe.
said the world has gone soft. Who's this guy? Andrew Tate, bro? This guy the top G or some shit?
No,
Guys,
I'm
You
just
really
saying.
wanted to make an Andrew Tate reference, Tom. You've been judging
Nah,
all
he
day
just,
to make one.
when he said that, it just made me think of that. When he said the world's gone soft, like
I don't
this
even know
and
who that dude is. He's shown up on my TikToks lately,
Yeah,
but I don't know. Who
he's
he is.
all
Well,
over the place, bro.
We'll get back on topic here. Talking about the control. I know you guys were curious. FaZe actually looked pretty good in control today, but I mean, I'm curious what you guys thought about kind of.
I thought Abizi
the end
took
of
the
this
fuck
one.
over. That's what I think. He took
Yeah.
the fuck over, popped the 4-piece on the offense. That got him the fucking point when he was lighting up the bodies. And
Yeah,
then
he couldn't do any wrong.
And then they go back to the defense. I mean, once they win this offense, FaZe do such a good job holding on Tuscan defense. Like they're just a good team, especially MC. He's always playing a weird creddy, always playing streaks somehow. He's always on a streak. I feel like every time we go on his screen, he's always 1 or 2 off of streaks. And Abizi, I just think the routes that he was taking, you could see it now. I've been showing it for the last 5 minutes. The way he's been moving around the map has been just insane today. I think, and again, I know Abizi has had his struggles in finals, but if he keeps playing like this and moving like this, I can see FaZe making a run. He's 25-13 towards the end of this one, and FaZe had a really, really comfortable control, man. Really comfortable.
Wait, Ben.
Go ahead, Pat.
You watch more baseball than me. Isn't like the bat flip in the MLB like becoming like more and more quote disrespectful? Like, isn't that the take that's being had?
It's sure
A conversation, but like that's showboating, right? Like in the same way.
It's showboating, but there's also some old school baseball fucking unwritten rule bullshit that's also going on there. Been around
Right, but I'm
for
saying like, bro,
80
you,
years.
you should be able to do that, bro. Like,
I get what you're saying, but I think the more nuanced take, if we're gonna go back and kind of finish that conversation about FaZe, it's just like they've kind of set this sort of meta since Modern Warfare. They were going to be a little BM, so every time they pull one of these maneuvers now, they're gonna get the spotlight on them. But go ahead, Tom.
No, I mean, we'll take a look at the final scoreboard. Look at the score from Paris. Look at their stat line: 13-23, 14-20, 12-24. I mean, they're getting dumped on.
Bro, did you see the stat line for the end of the series? Like, it was 0.8, 0.8, 0.8, 0.8 across the board for Paris, and like 1.2, 1.6, 1.15. Like, bro, yeah, they went game 5, but dude, like, there was at no point in this series did I think Paris was gonna win. Like, they clutched up in a game 4, and we were talking about Tuscan Hardpoint. And Chris, I think you were bringing up P1. It's actually P5. FaZe is, believe this or not, the worst P5 team in the entire game on Tuscan.
Really?
From
You wouldn't
any
think
team.
that. You wouldn't think that at all.
They only average 18 points on P5. So I think like that's where their real struggles lie on Tuscan. I think, yeah, they haven't been clutching up in their P1s, and that's where it's been noticeable because that's what the game always comes down to.
Yeah, it comes down to
They're
that
getting
last
they're
one.
getting smoked on P5 every rotation.
They're getting smoked
no
on
matter who they
P5
play.
and not rotating.
Yeah, they don't, bro. A lot of teams don't rotate in this game.
For P1.
P1 is like one of those hills where I feel like you need to get there early, or just
Yeah,
get there,
the
before
second
the
time
other team.
around, when the next rotation pops, it's a money hill at that point. It's not the rip because people can get there at even timings, but on the rotation, it's definitely a money hill. You can
Well,
get set up early.
I mean, you say the rotation, but they also had a amazing pinch break, and then they got 3-piece by one guy. Like that didn't help. If they just killed that one guy, they probably win this map.
Yeah, I mean, we could take a look at the P5 right now. You can see that Paris, they got that low control early, and that's kind of how they were able to work some kills and get control of the hill. And I think with FaZe, sometimes I feel like they're just kind of sitting around L trigger on this hill. I feel like they need to get more aggressive down low. And start getting aggro over here. Start playing more for like mid-map low control, and like maybe somebody can slow play their side and just get control of this. Because when a team has control of low, that's where the real hold comes in on P5. You can dodge your grenades, you can hold your lanes, hold your L triggers, and people are just gonna have to slide in, and you're just gonna hold an iron sight. Do you guys agree with me on that, about that P5 hill? That down low control is probably the most important thing.
Yeah, and we
100%.
always, whenever like some crazy break happens, it usually happens because whoever's on that stairs misplays it, right? Like they either give it up or get bad timing or whatever, and then they get broken from bottom. That's where we always see that catalyst happen.
Yep.
So I agree with you. Like making sure bottom is locked down should be the priority.
And then this is where the 3-piece happens. You can see Alec RC is making a fantastic play here. He ends up pinching here, and just look how many kills he picks up just staying alive on the pinch. I mean, they just can't get 3-piece here by Johnny. They can't allow that to happen, and that's ultimately what ended up helping them win the map. Johnny just was able to shoot him inside.
They would have won because Alec was already pushed out. They would have killed the guy in hill, and that would have been a GG.
Yeah, they just can't get pieced by Johnny. I mean, Johnny just clutched up. He went big. He
Also,
literally won this map.
Also, I don't have the scoreboard in front of me, but I know Donnie had like 25 kills, 25 assists on this map, which is like absurd.
Yeah, he had 22 assists on this map.
22?
16 non-traded. He was doing his thing. 4,000 damage. I mean,
He had a good map. He
had a good
fried.
map.
25, 22, yeah.
He had a really good map. I mean, a lot of this stuff you don't see in game, right? Like the damage and the assist and stuff like that.
That's
so,
a triple-double, bro.
That's a triple-double
25,
right there,
22,
man.
16.
Yeah, no,
4K dammy.
It's a good map from Don. And to be fair, I know their year is over now, right? Like Paris is done. As we go into this last map, this is pretty much a takeover map from FaZe. MC starts off the map with a 3-piece to get things going. And I don't even know how the hell he even got this 3-piece on his tank over here. This is just really good plays. You can see Paris, they get one, and then MC's on this tank, and he somehow gets 3 kills here. He gets 1. See the guy trying to jump up, gets 2. Pretty much solidifies the first round. I feel like it's a good momentum switch for them because they went on after this round, after they got blooded, to clutch up and just kind of roll through this one. But what do you think is going to happen with people like Donnie and Johnny and all these guys from Paris? You think they're going to find spots? You think they're going to stay on the Vegas team? Like, what do you think is going to happen with
No,
them?
I think.
Go ahead, Chris.
I want to say I think the majority of them probably go back to challengers. I don't think anyone on that team really murdered their stock, in my opinion. I think people are kind of a lot more understanding now, I'd like to say, in terms of the situations. But I also don't think they really did any favors. I don't think like any of them did enough to be like, oh, we should pick this guy up like at the beginning of the season. I think if anything, they're gonna have to reprove themselves in challengers. But Temp, I think, should be fine. I think Temp has good stock, but who knows?
I think Jimbo's stock got annihilated.
Yeah,
Johnny was probably a wash. Gravity was probably a wash, and then Donnie was just.
I don't know about that, man. I feel like individually these guys played a lot better on LAN. Online, they didn't have the best
I think
split.
Jimbo
They
played
had
way
Jim-
better
they-
on
they-
LAN.
Jimbo's got the
yeah,
worst
because
online
they
situation of all
tossed Jimbo.
time.
Yeah, they have him in fucking Canada.
Yeah.
So like, there's only so much you can do. He's
How many
in
people are going to take that to account, though? He goes back to challengers. It's still the same situation. Like I just think his stock got smoked. Though. We
I
saw
mean, the
so
way I
many
look at
series
it-
where he was throwing up like 0.5s.
The way I look at it, and we'll get to like Minnesota, for example, like there are a bunch of other teams going to get squad wiped. There's going to be a game musical chairs, and like so many like players in the tiers above that are available, and then you've got to.
I'm trying to think here.
Yeah, but I don't see Johnny or Jimbo.
I'm trying to think
taking those
here. How
spots.
many? Okay, so Paris all got picked up from challengers this year. I think I'm not gonna lie. Like besides substitutes, like for example, Fame just got brought in. Scrappy's a sub. Some of those people that I feel like they might get sub spots, but I think a lot of people, like a lot of pro players, are not going to take huge risks besides maybe like
Yeah.
Scrappy going into the offseason in terms of challengers. Why? Because it's the same reason why I said that, for example, even if FaZe were to have terrible results or Optic were to have terrible results, they're not going to break up going into next year because everyone knows this fucking year for the game was terrible. So when you look at people that are okay, for example, Johnny's good. I think Johnny played pretty good for what he is, but is he Scrappy level talent? No. I think
No, and he's also the most
Scrappy's
unproven
fucking
player
exactly
going into a new game.
Exactly.
I'll
That's what I'm
say-
saying. Like
I'll say,
you
Chris,
have to be extremely different, like Scrappy, for example, to even have a chance of getting in like a team next year, in my opinion, that where people are going to actually look at you, because no one's going to look at like somebody that is like decent, like maybe has potential, and be like, okay, we want you for the next year when you showed potential in Vanguard. But Scrappy's a different case because Scrappy was absurdly good, not to a point where it's just like he might not be good at the next game. I feel like he's obscenely good. Like
he's definitely an elite talent, Chris. The
Yeah,
only thing I'll
exactly.
say, Chris, is like, again, there's only a finite number of spots in the league. There are a lot of players that teams are going to target, and then once those options are gone, then things get a little bit wild. As you guys have seen in roster mania, so I wouldn't count
Yeah,
anything
but
out. We got to
Ben-
see how some of the Sunday night bar conversations go and how that cascades to the weeks after.
But kind of like what Chris said, I still think like
I don't
this
think much is going to change.
upper tier of the league, I don't see changing. Like I really don't. I don't
No,
see
I agree with that.
like
With
Seattle,
Optic and FaZe,
maybe
yeah.
one move, like maybe like FaZe Optic don't change. Ultra, I don't think change unless they bring Scrappy in.
Mhm.
London, I don't see much change there. And even if they do, even if London changed, they're still an all EU team. Like, and I think they stay all EU no matter what. So like, yeah, I think there's the outliers like the Minnesotas, the Floridas, the LAGs, but like those teams to me aren't that important anyway because they don't really have necessarily the talent that's gonna break into this top echelon, even if they make moves because they're good players want to go elsewhere anyway, and it's not they can't get enough talent to form a dominant team on their own franchise. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I tend to think that it's still going to be top heavy, and it would just be more of we'll see what the game does, and if there's some like surprises in terms of players,
Yeah,
coming in next year and
I
being
don't know
a lot
how
better.
many. I don't know how many new people are going to get brought in. Is what my take is. I think you're going to see a lot of the same teams. Maybe like a couple changes here and there, but it's going to be the same players besides like super outlier cases, like I said. Because I mean, we say all the time on the show, bro. Pros think the same thing. They just don't talk about it. The game is just weird. This is the weirdest fucking year of Call of Duty. The event results show it. Like people almost like made these rosters, and they, in my opinion, if I were these like teams, I would feel like I couldn't fully realize the potential of my team because we're playing a game that is just so.
Bro, every
difficult
team
to be
that's won an
consistent at,
event
man.
went from aside from Optic
Game is
went
shit.
from 12th to 1st back to 12th.
Like, it's wild.
And that's
Bro,
what I'm
like-
saying. I'll use Optic as the prime example. If
and even
Optic,
then they fell off.
if Optic don't play the most consistent throughout the rest of the year, do you really think these guys are going to be like, wow, we fully realize our potential as a roster with this type of talent on Vanguard? No.
No, not at all.
No.
Definitely
So
not.
we had a bunch of teams stick after last year. I agree with you. I think especially some of these top teams are going to stick again. I want to kind of finish off the series at one point, Tom.
Yep.
I think we obviously all talked about RCDs yesterday.
Yep.
Loki had actually a very good day today, both in this series
Yeah,
and
he
the
did.
IG
He
series
played
at
well
the end.
today.
So I saw some bullshit in the chat. Like he stepped it up today. So to your point, I think a lot of people, Chris, are going to recognize that this is a weird year, a 2-year cycle coming up. M's important, and they're going to go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully the game's not shit on a 2-year cycle.
Oh, you just reminded it's a 2-year cycle.
Yeah, I'm hoping with a
Jesus.
2-year cycle, we better hope this next game ain't fucking dog piss, because that'll be terrible. A 2-year
could you
cycle with a
imagine-
terrible game?
Could you imagine the DLC maps are terrible and it's like watching the same 4-map veto rotation
No,
for
I will-
2
I will
years?
lose
Nah, they got
fucking
to
full.
get some good maps in.
Bro, you never know though. You legit never know because those maps
Listen.
aren't being competitively tested. That's the problem.
Let me know what God I have to pray to for good maps.
Bro, we need shit, bro. We need the prayer.
Bro,
we need
I'ma be
Gersh to say a
honest,
prayer on stage.
I'm going to be honest. There is no way it gets worse in this game.
No,
Nah, don't say
No,
that,
don't
Chris.
say
Don't
that.
say that, bro.
No,
No,
don't say
like,
that.
bro,
I tend to agree with you. I tend to
Bro,
agree
no,
with
I'm
you.
not even
No.
kidding. I'm not even kidding. Bro, there is zero chance it gets worse in this game. Not only is the setting terrible, the World War II setting, like the spawns are worse than MW somehow. Like the gun balance is terrible, the visuals are terrible. This game is graphically horrible. Like, bro, I feel like MW looked better, Warzone looked better, and that show's on
I agree.
PS4.
Listen, someone clip that, and if the game is bad, Chris, I'm sorry, you're probably gonna take the flag for it.
I
Yeah,
don't give a
I've heard
fuck. There is zero
shit, man.
shot, man.
No, we're not putting fucking a shit game being made on Chris, bro. Just
There's
make
no
a
way.
fucking good game, dude.
There's
Just make a
no
good game.
way, bro.
He's spitting facts right now. He's spitting facts. This game is literally terrible. It's so hard to watch.
Zero shot, man.
I mean, look.
But
Take a
you
look
telling
at
me we're gonna get a map worse than Bokage, please?
Nah, absolutely not. Even though Bokage
There's
is
no
it is fun to watch though. I will say that. It's very fun to watch it, but I'm sure playing it is an absolute fucking headache. But we'll take a look at the final scoreboard. Look at Salian, man, 12-0. He beat Standy's record yesterday. Is that like the best most kills we've seen in a flawless game? 12-0. I feel like that's
Probably in a flawless, yeah.
In a flawless. That's a really good stat line coming out of MC, and then he had RCDs right behind him, 7-6, keeping up and doing what he had to do, and everybody pulling weight. 6-2, pretty comfortable win for MC and the boys over at Atlanta FaZe Paris. That's gonna do it for them for Call of Duty Vanguard. They're probably feeling great that they don't have to play Vanguard anymore. I'm sure it still hurts that they had a rough year, but their year's been chalked for a while now.
Honestly,
You know what
if
I'm
they
saying?
won this, it just would have been a prolonged thing for them, bro. So I think they're glad to be done.
Yeah. Well, let's just get into the next one, man. We got Tuscan Hardpoint, Bokeh S&D, Berlin Control, Berlin Hardpoint, Tuscan Search and Destroy. We had the Los Angeles Gorillas going up against the London Royal Ravens. Pat, we'll start with you. Anything in the vetoes and anything you want to just say over on the overall of the series?
Bro, at this point, with the Ravens, it's simple, bro. Don't give them Tuscan Berlin in the series online. On land, do whatever you want. Literally, let them pick every map on land. Bro, I don't know what it is, but like, oh man, it's not just one of them. I know yesterday I called out Gizmo, but dude, it's Trey. It's. I mean, even Afro had a really bad stinker today. And granted, the game is the game, and there's definitely some reason for that, but. Bro, for them to be doing what they were doing in the online qualifier, to then come to land and just like, where did your right stick go? Like they're just getting smoked.
So I went through Pat and like went all the way back to Major 1 Kickoff Classic, and like they are so day to day in the team in terms of their results and performances, and I think it's tough like with only a couple weeks before champs to work on it, but like that is key problem for them right now. They have shown online that they are able to hang with the best, to play with speed. They play with really dynamicism, but on land, when the game kind of slows down a bit, the nerves are a little bit higher. The bright lights are on. Something's happening mentally with that team.
Hey, yo,
and
chill out,
right.
bro. Chill out about the lights, man. What the fuck?
I don't want to call out Trey here, but if you remember, like in the beginning of the online stage for them when they started so hot, Trey was having some series that were like takeover series. Like we were talking about, he got Gizmo back, so his play is elevating. And he was having plays where or maps where he was like looking like how Zinni looked on Boston early in the year, where it was like it was so evident. Like if he doesn't do that, there's no way this team is playing that good. And I think we kind of see, I mean, on land at least so far, what happens when their superstars just don't even show up at all. Like Trey had a 0.7 a day and a 0.8 yesterday. Like that's night and day from how well he was playing online. And I don't think Trey's like an online or anything by any means, because we've seen what he can do. But there's something to say about this team and kind of just like what you said, Ben. Like when they get on stage, when they get under the lights, they're not playing like the same team
I have a
that
take.
we saw.
I don't know if you guys will agree with me on this take, and you guys can kind of add on to it. But I feel like London's a very hyper aggressive team. And I also think when you play that way in Vanguard, it's very difficult to get your timings playing at a pace like that. Because spawns are all over the place. It gets super hectic. There's people flying from fucking everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, that's fair, Tom. But they play the same way land online. So.
Oh no, it's no.
But we also
excuse.
talk
I'm
about
just,
how the game slows down a little bit, right? Like even
that's
if
what I'm
you
saying.
don't slow
I think
down,
they might be too aggressive. You know
yeah,
what
if
I'm
the
saying?
other team slows down, if the other team is holding more pre-aims, playing
On
more
land.
setup heavy on land, like they're
that's
gonna
what I'm
get cooked
saying.
if they're just expecting to slide in and get bail out two pieces like they were online, which is possible because we've seen this and we know this. Players play a little bit less, I would say, effort oriented online, right? Like you don't take the extra time to do like the very safe play, so to speak, where you're more prone to do that on LAN when everything's on the line.
Yeah.
It's more free throw online, and I think you're right. I think their style capitalizes on how online Call of Duty plays, and yeah, I mean we've seen the results from their LAN performances.
I think they're just a young team. I mean, they still got champs, so I'm not gonna count out their year yet. But like, I think they're just a young team, and regardless, like we were talking about before, I don't see this team making many, if any, moves because the way I see it, it's like, yeah, who else are they gonna get? There's people that have proved themselves on like Vanguard, I guess. Like,
might get
for example,
Beans.
like Beans or Wardy or something like that. I'm not saying those guys weren't good at other games. Don't take it that way. But I'm saying like, I don't think London is gonna go back and be like, oh, we fully realized our potential with this team. Like, not to an insane degree. And I think they like playing with each other. I think Trey talks about how their vibes are really good all the time. They just have been able to string together the results that they've been able to put together online. And also it's another thing where it's like they're still doing well in the league enough to qualify for champs, and they're doing well online. So it's not like they're just completely getting shit on. So the vibes aren't going to be completely dead. Like they still got something to work towards.
Hold up, I just realized something.
What's up? Man?
I called this.
Did you?
Remember when Trey came on the flank after I think they were like 4-0 in the league, and he was talking about how they're like going out all night, team dinners, just vibing, practice, they're laughing. And I was like, dude, you know what that sounds like to me? That sounds like a honeymoon period. And we talked about them just getting Gizmo back, right? And Tom, you know this, Chris, you know this. Like when you make roster changes sometime, even if it's something like your fourth coming back that you're more comfortable with, it feels like a honeymoon. And I think they went through that kind of phase where just everything was going right. Nothing was going wrong. They were winning all their matches easily. And then they just came here and it didn't click right away. And I think we've seen what happens when like that momentum turns on you, how big of a difference your team can be.
Yeah, no, I agree. But as you say that, let's hop into listenings. Man, we got back-to-back listenings here. First one, we're going to start with the London Royal Ravens, and then we'll hop into LAG as we go into the second rotation. LAG, they build themselves a little bit of a lead, as you saw on the screen, just a really big P5 hold. It started with Hook's 3-piece to kind of get them in there. And London, that was like one of the first times I've seen like a clean P5, like an actual like 50 to 60. So LAG, they played those P5s, these P5s this map really good, but let's tune into this listening. Let's see how London Royal Ravens are coming.
I don't see him. Nice. I'm in time. Help me.
There you.
Full flash him.
I'll go roll spawn.
He's weak. I can't kill him.
Going on you.
How are you? One shot.
Nice. I'll go early, okay?
Yep.
He's back left. One's back left.
Listen, Clown Church get comp control.
Are you back church?
Here.
Trying to help you top church. Can we back left field maybe? Send him top church. Nice. I'm in with you, Baron. Nice, let's go. I'm hitting ramp.
Okay, go. Yeah, I'll fly. He's back.
Blue shot dead.
Nice.
One more D-back. I've pinched back.
No, that's one minute.
Nep's on the back.
Come
I need a low out. Come right.
He's plat, 100%.
One shot time. There's two. One church.
Back left time.
One church. Push it. Ramp. I spawn the back. Ramp one shot. Spars. I'm doing time. One hit. Ramp again.
Ramp and plat. Plat's watching his pinch. You can push him.
Shoot. Dead.
Nice.
Ramp now. End time net. I'm watching top.
So that's going to do it for the London Royal Ravens. Now let's hop in with LAG.
Close. There's two close.
I got time. You should be by yourself.
Yeah, nothing else one.
Where'd you spawn? P5 on me. Nice. Give me top.
It was Afro.
Go top fire.
Afro was here.
Pretty sure. Where? He's on me. P5. Left. He's crossing now. Nice. I'll let him in now.
I'm watching mid lane.
I hear you.
One got top green. Watch the fire. Top fire dead.
I got left.
No, left. Dead. You Afro.
Okay. I'm playing my left. Go ahead.
I'm just being annoying. First dead. Oh my god.
I'm about to give the back. I'm looking back left.
And that's going to do it for LAG. What'd you guys think of the comms? I thought they both sounded pretty good. A lot of energy. These guys came out swinging. What did you guys think of LAG in this first series? I feel like this first map, they definitely took this one by storm. They kind of rolled away with this one. And it started with just that big P5 hold initially, and then just right there, that P3, where they were just able to lock down so much time. London, they started bringing it back a little bit, but as we get into that second P5, that's kind of where LAG were able to close it out. What were your thoughts about these guys? I thought Neptune came out and played really well this first map. He was doing his thing.
Yeah, I mean, all of LG played pretty good. I think this series in general, or not the series in general, but this map in general, LAG were just looking a lot more efficient with their kills. Like the slaying was kind of like tied for a bit until LAG started taking off towards the tail end and just had way more points scored. I think Nasty played pretty good today and yesterday, at least in some of the maps, and I think his team just kind of let him down.
Yeah, Nasty's he's been good for this team. I feel like
Yeah.
Nasty's been kind of
This last split.
Yeah, this last split, like he's been hitting form. Like he's definitely been doing his thing. But you could kind of see how LG was able to close it out. They were able to break on into this P5, and I like how they do it. They just hit it together. Look at this. They three just slide into that bitch, and you could just see London. They just start to panic. They all go down, and LAG they're able to pick up all these kills and close out the map. So really good first map from LAG. The fans are going absolutely fucking nuts. These fans in the front row, that guy with the Yankee hat on was going fucking nuts the whole time. I love it, man. I love shit like that. Take a look at the final scoreboard. Neptune 29 and 27. Everybody positive. Slasher 25 and 15. He's been doing his thing. And then the other side, everybody negative, like Chris just said, except for Nasty. So Nasty maybe needed a little bit more help there. Any final thoughts on map number 1 as we head in?
Just look at the kills. It's just like London kind of brought it back a little bit, but like it was almost to a point where they were about to lose by like 100 points. And like the kills, I feel like are not that different in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I agree with you 100% as we head into the boat cage S and D. This one London was able to take. LAG, they got out to a pretty hot start. Rounds are getting traded back and forth. Matter of fact, Slasher had a good 1v2 in this round. We could check out the 1-1 round where Slasher was kind of able to clutch up and make a play. But I feel like Thanos has been hitting form as well. I feel like
we talked about this, Tom. Remember, I forget. Slasher came in the chat one day. It was when we were doing our flank, and we were roasting them for playing Gav, and he was like, "What other maps you want me to pick?" And we're like, "Tuscan, Berlin, Bocage, like pick the mixy maps." And because the reason is we trust him to play good on those maps. And bro, think about what we've been talking about with this LAG team, even through the online qualifiers, like Slasher. You had like a 1.5 series against FaZe, a 1.4 against London. Here in this series, a 1.3. Like I obviously that they're out now, but I think they started finally kind of realizing like, dude, like he's gonna perform on any of those maps as an AR. Like he's kind of the backbone to this team. And so let players like Neptune and Huke and Spart have a little bit more flexibility for their play style, which I think they do. And I mean, I want to give credit to Neptune. I think he played really well in this series particularly. Because I mean, I've been hard on him in the past, but he stepped it up big in this series. So I think that was a big part of, them having that SMG pressure, helping shut down, obviously, London's.
Yeah, and just to talk about the match a little bit, or the map a little bit, this one I felt like LAG waited too long to make a play. I like what they're doing here. They're getting aggro here. I don't know how the hell Afro was able to win that one-on-one there, but they just run out of time, and it's because they just sit around mid-map for 1 minute and 15 seconds. Like, they don't do anything, and I don't know why teams delay their pushes. Like, after 20-30 seconds, if you don't see anything, coordinate something and do something and make a play. Kind of leaves Neptune in a tough spot with no time left on the clock, and I thought Neptune might have been able to have this one. He's able to slide on in and gun this guy Tool, but Trey, he's able to pick it up. So big plays there. And then as we head into the 3-2 round, man, I just want to say something, man.
Oh, I knew this is coming.
You knew it was coming, Ben? You knew it was coming? Because I'm getting so annoyed by this
You got
shit, bro.
so annoyed when we were watching this live.
I just don't understand why nobody checks this fucking corner that Afro sits in every single fucking day, bro. These are pro players. Are they not watching VOD, bro? What all the fucking boat cages S&D, all the boat cage S&D I've seen, every team has a guy playing that corner, and
Afro's done it.
And Afro does it every single life, and nobody checks it. How do they not check it?
You know what it was? Asim was that guy rounding up the troops to watch the VOD, and they don't got that guy no more.
No way.
That's a corner that works like once.
They don't got that guy no more.
That's a corner that works legitimately once ever.
It'd be like
and then
that
it never works
sometimes.
again.
I can't believe that he's getting free kills in that corner still. Like, I actually
Yo,
can't
if that
believe
was me in that corner, bro, somebody's checking that. Like, I've never sat in a corner like that in my life and been unchecked.
I'm just fucking tired of it, man. And then even the next series, somebody, I forgot who it was, played the corner, and somebody just waltzed out and got shot on the side. I'm like, dude, like, I'm gonna fucking rage. Like, somebody check that corner. It's like literally a day one, and it's so easy to check. Like, just clear the stairs heading. If nobody's there, just check it. Just check the corner. You can hug the wall so you can't be seen from tank, I'm pretty sure. And you could check it really, really quick. So not really too sure what was going on there. Kind of pissed me off a little bit. And in this round, London, they just get really aggressive here. This is where London starts to pick up the pace. And again, they live and die by this aggression, especially on land. It's a different game on land. And Pat, you have mentioned that before in the past. Like on land, like the game just slows down. You know, people are gonna be holding
Especially
their LTs.
search more than anything else.
But it works for them sometimes. You can see London, they run at them in the 3-3 round. They end up taking that one. And then as we go into the 3-4 round, this is where Nasty fucking takes over. He just fucking shits on him here. Nasty with some good individual plays. You can see LAG, they were able to get the first blood, but it was Nasty who gets on that pinch. He's able to find one, and then that's going to open up the map a little bit. LAG, they start tweaking. Gizmo, he's going to get taken down. So 3v2 situation in favor of the Los Angeles Guerrillas. 15 seconds left on the clock, and guess what? Bomb ain't planted. They're running towards a bomb with no time left. And look now, Neptune's tweaking on the bomb site because he knows that there's no time. And I don't know how the hell Nasty won that fight. Nasty somehow wins this fight. That was actually crazy. He snapped onto Spart here. So really good wins there out of Nasty. And then Neptune, he's finally going to be able to try and get this bomb down. But guess what? They waited till the last second. He gets shot off the bomb. Last guy up is Hook, and Nasty's able to take him down. So Nasty doing nasty things to the competition as they go up 3-5, and then this is where London was able to close it out. What's up, Ben?
That was a good line out of you. Nasty do nasty things.
Yeah, I just came up with that shit right now. That's you know me.
Let's get off the dome.
Thank you, bro. And then London, they're able to close it out. They pretty comfortable round out of them, pretty comfortable offense. They kind of just ran through them. We'll take a look at the final scoreboard. Any final thoughts on the S&D? Spart 10-7, but wasn't enough. Everybody on his team negative or even. And then on the other side, Afro 11-5. So Afro getting aggro and do what he's got to do. Any thoughts, gentlemen? Any final thoughts at all?
This map's been a strong suit for London the last few weeks going into champs. Curious to see if teams adjust vetoes to kind of avoid them on Bocage, but I would say it's probably unlikely because I think a lot of teams are feeling they're pretty comfortable scoring up on teams. Bocage S&D, and I also think it's a very entertaining map to watch.
Yeah, and then we get into the Berlin Control, and honestly, this was an interesting one. London, they were able to come out and
this is not interesting. This is the worst Berlin Control I think I've seen all season.
I mean, that's why I said it was interesting, because it was terrible. Just a lot of just stupid mistakes. London, they start off on the offense. They're able to work kills through front. It was Trey who got a two-piece and got him in there, and then they just able to get some kills and stack. They win the offense, and then we get into the next round, the 0-1 round. This is where I felt like maybe some kill whoring was coming in. Right here, man, you just got to get kills and stack the point. And LAG, instead of stacking points when they get kills, I mean, this is the easier point to capture. Like right here, if Hook just gets on the point, I mean, they win this map. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're going to win this round. They're going to tie it up at 1. They would have went on to win this one, but this round ended up costing them. Do you guys agree with me here? Because Hook just goes rogue.
Yeah, he shouldn't have been pushed up.
And then Neptune, he's the only one on the point. There's like a little tiny sliver left. If Hook would have just hopped on it, they would have won the round. And then they end up just somehow London just holds for 1 minute and 45 seconds. They just they did the New York subliners. This is the second time now. We haven't seen this all year, or well, not all year. Berlin's kind of a new map, came midway through the year, but we haven't seen teams be able to lock down this B side. And why do you think that is? Do you think teams are getting better now at locking it down? Because that's interesting now. That's 2 days in a row now where we've seen a team lock down this B side after the harder point was captured.
I think they're getting better, but I think the main thing is like, how often is this happening? I feel like teams are so under practice on this situation to where you got a first on this map. Like, it never happens. I doubt it happens in scrims. So I think it's a little bit of like a panicky, floody.
It happens in scrims. I think actually, Pat, the bigger issue is I feel like teams are getting in this issue because the first two waves are stopped and they mega slow down the next couple of attempts. Love to see teams, try and take more long routes when you're trying to break this B side. If you've got A initially, I've just seen a lot of face smashing back to the spawn, trying to pitch from street instead of seeing someone around.
Long routes are good, but I also think teams misplay on defense. If you think about the layout of that building, right? The top side has one doorway, at least the top side. If you just watch like the broken cut, like towards where P5 is, there's one doorway. So you literally just have to allocate one person there. And usually if he's playing it well enough, he should get 1, maybe 2 kills because it's literally one door, right? Yeah. The other side of the map, the other parts of the map, bro, you know how people try to hold that? They try to push out. They try to get control. They try to push out towards the warehouse. They try to do all that stuff, right? When in reality, just sit in the fucking building.
Yeah.
Why? Because there's like 1,800
Yeah,
million
I
corners.
just feel like Hook was like, this B point's easy as fuck to get. Fuck it, I'm gonna run at them. And just,
Yeah,
just
exactly.
go
And they
crazy.
run into the site and they have to check 1,800 corners.
Yeah.
And they can't break it because London's just turtled up inside the point rather than just pushing out and giving them free kills, because that's where you run into trouble. You push out, you get isolated, they kill you outside of the point, then they just walk into the point because they know, okay, maybe one person's in there. But when you're not giving them anything and just hiding inside the point, they have to check literally so many corners, bro. There's literally there's 2 side rooms, there's 2 side rooms of the staircases, there's the top side, like just turtle up in the building, get the kills, then push out rather than just trying to like go rogue and challenge outside of the point.
And then as we get into the overtime, this is just where Trey makes a play. You can see him, the number 5 on your mini map. He's going to get through secret and find a gap in the map. And I just love the patience here from Trey. He doesn't hit the hill. He kind of just waits. He waits for his teammates to get a little bit closer. And he's kind of just being patient and just waiting for a good opportunity to make a move. And once his team gets closer and some kills start going down, he makes his move. He's going to flank. LEG get caught with their pants down. And that's going to open up the whole site for London. That's going to allow them to get in, stack this point, work these kills, and ultimately end up winning this map. So Trey,
and I don't know
making
how,
plays, man.
because Afro was giving them nothing on this map.
Yeah, he had a rough map in this one. Afro, you know, he's struggled a little bit from it. He has those maps, those stinker maps. And he's not the only super hyper aggressive player that deals with that, right? Those inconsistencies, those up and downs. We could take a look at the final scoreboard. Look at London. Look at London. Everybody negative on London for the win. LAG.
I mean, LAG threw, like not only just looking at the KDs, like you can tell like they threw, obviously. Like you just pointed out like 2 mega situations where like who could have literally just stepped his big toe on the point, they cap it, they win the round.
No,
that round, they just literally forget the flanks open.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
huh?
I guess so. I mean, they didn't even look at it. And, Trey was there for like a good fucking 15 seconds, 15, 20 seconds, you know? So some brain farts coming out of
they
the
trolled,
LAG
bro.
camp.
They trolled.
Yeah, and then we get into the Berlin Hardpoint, which is the 4th map. This is where LAG were able to push this to a map number 5. And honestly, this one was just super back and forth. After the first set of rotations, it was pretty much a tie game. And then LAG, they just really started to pick things up on the second rotation. It started just with a big P1 hold. London, they get here early. They get to this hill early, and then just look how it kind of breaks for them. You can see kind of what Trey just did, right? Hook, he's going to take a route fire. He's able to find one, and then you can see London, they're kind of scrambling now. They just got pinched, so they had to turn, and that allows LAG to slide on into this point and break on in. So this was just a really, really big break for the LAG. Anything you would have done differently there if you were London on the setup, because this was a big break, man. LAG was able to break into this and pretty much just build their lead so much where they were pretty much able to hold on to it the rest of the way through. For me, man, again, just those pinches. Like, nobody, you got to be careful, especially if you're at number 8 in the hill and that window's open behind you. You got to be careful of those stairs, man. People are always working pinches and always taking long routes, and I feel like it's a pretty common thing now that people are going to start taking routes. Sometimes people like to go all the way around fire and take, like, a deep route. So, right there, London, maybe a little misplay in the setup. What do you guys think?
Definitely misplay.
Thought they trolled a little bit right there. What's up, Chris? It looks like you're pondering over there.
I'm always pondering, dude. I'm just trying to like look at the mini map while you're going through the game. Sometimes I notice some weird things, but dude, this to me, like, I think Neptune played really good in this series, man, and I kind of just feel bad because like they were just one, like if they won this hard point, they were literally like 1 or 2 plays away from winning they won the series anyways, but just having a cleaner, they would have had a much cleaner series, much less stressful series, and London just.
But it's not even about winning the series, Chris. It's tendencies. Like the things that they're doing in this map, they do in other maps. You
exactly.
Know? Like these are mistakes that they continue to make, and
they continue to make. You might not always see them, but they happen in the background. Yeah.
Yeah, like shit like that. Like you need to clean it up. Like you need to minimize those as much as possible, and I think that's a problem for them. So LAG. Luckily, they were able to hold on. They break into the P2 here, the second P2, and get some scrap. And they just lock down this P3. I like the play that Spart's making here, just staying pushed up on that tank and kind of delaying London's push. He's able to get 2 on the rotation, and that pretty much spawns them front. Once you get all those kills street, you know they're coming from front. You know they're getting that deep P1, that low glass spawn. And you could kind of see them all flooding onto this hill. And LAG, they're just able to lock this shit down. So just really good plays from LAG. We've seen it time and time again, right? People just getting broken from the street. So I just thought it was a good heads-up play out of Spark to just kind of rotate or get there early, get pushed up BS&D, and work some kills. So really good plays out of him. And then as the game goes on, this is kind of where London started to crawl back a little bit. But LAG, they were able to hold on to the last P5 and get to that third P1 and close this one out and push this to a map number 5. Pat?
Yeah, they just stayed ahead of the game.
Pat, any thoughts? Any thoughts on a map?
No, I'm just thinking about when I told Slasher he should be playing Berlin over Gav every time. He was in the chat like laughing at it as if it was a bad idea. But
Pat, people need to start listening to you, man. You know
that's what I'm saying, Tom. They really do. There's a lot of stubbornness in the CDL,
it's free
man.
Info, Pat. It's fucking free info.
You're right. Honestly, I need to be careful with that. Some things I need to make sure I keep behind a paywall because there's a lot of free info being given out.
Yeah, no, and 100%. I thought Hook was doing his thing. He was making plays, man. Hook, he had spurts today where he was just like popping off and picking up piece after piece. But you can see LAG, they get here early to this third P1, and they were able to close it out. Like Chris said, they just stay ahead of the game. We'll take a look at the scoreboard. Neptune 30 and 22 from Neptune. Everybody from London negative except for Nasty, who's only positive 2. So clearly the slaying power wasn't there for them. And LAG, they end up rolling away with this.
Gizmo had a rough map. He might not have been like terrible statistically, but under 2K damage. Shit.
Well, Tom, just to add one thing about
Trey
the
was
LAG
right there with
thing,
him.
Yeah, go ahead.
It came into play in the last series. Going back to your Neptune point, the same thing applies for Kyler too. And I think Krim kind of also covered in his tier list video. Like Kyler's also been mega inconsistent. That's also been.
Yeah,
some
Mike's cutting
LAG
out, so
struggle.
be careful with that, Ben.
Yep, sorry about that.
You're good as we get into the next. What's wrong with your microphone today? What is it, fucking
I don't
ass
know.
cheeks?
It's been fine all day.
I think it's a virtual camera you got me set up on, to be honest.
No. It's actually on my end, but go ahead.
I feel like you keep moving, Ben. Like you keep like looking at different
No,
monitor while you're
I
talking.
always keep moving. That's not the issue, but go ahead.
Okay,
But go ahead.
I wanted to talk about this 2-1. I didn't like the plant spot from London here. And you guys can let me know what you think, but I've seen a few teams do this. They know that the spawn is cleared out. You have a guy push up church. Why not plan for ramp here? Why not plan for everything? Plan for back spawn, plan for ramp. It's just going to make it harder for LAG because they're going to look at the bomb and be like, holy shit, they planned it for everything. You know, and especially because they're in a 2v3, like I feel like they need to plan in a situation.
Did they actually fully clear their spawn, the spawn? Like,
well, they knew. I'm pretty sure they knew that LAG was pushing through. I mean, once they kind of pushed through here, I mean, it's completely empty. They also rotated the bomb over here. You could see Afro throwing shimmies. There's nobody here. There's literally nobody here. Like he even had it. Like, he could just slid.
He's chilling, like looking back there.
Yeah, he's chilling.
I think he's just more so just like if he plants there and a guy just like peeks that corner, he's just dead. Like
but it's
like
a 2v3.
he's just afraid.
Like take the risk.
It's
you know?
no. It's I mean it definitely was probably a good risk to take in hindsight, but like in reality, it's just like they could be wrapping back. They could be pushing through. You kind of never know.
It's the same thing when FaZe planted for green and they played spawn and Kenny just told Octane told him to just hop the bomb right in the.
That's not comparable because they planted for something and didn't even play for it. That time they planted for something, they still played for it. They just ran into the other team.
Yeah,
but
what I'm saying is I think FaZe should have planted for spawn and played spawn. Like,
if they're gonna play for spawn, plant for spawn.
Yeah, so it's just I don't know. I would think that they would be thinking a little bit more on their plant positions because when you get that bomb down and you play a post plant spot, like you can clutch it even if you're down numbers. You know.
Because if they do get the bomb down for there, it just puts a lot more worry into LAG's mind. Rather, is what you mean.
Yeah, and then we get into the 3-1 round, and this is where Slasher was able to clutch up. Slasher was able to get a couple 1v2s on the board today. As he made a good heads up play here. He ends up wrapping over here to top green, and I just think London, they just couldn't track him. They didn't know where he was. And he just makes a really, really good play here, getting this guy off the bomb and just dipping out. With 15 seconds left, not really much he needs to do. Right here, Afro could have had it, but check this timing out. Afro's literally about to kill him. There's still 11 seconds left. Like if he kills Austin here, he could jump down and probably defuse this. But look at this. He just hits a U-turn. This guy hits a fucking Yui. Hits a little cake turn, and he ends up not finding Austin. So really good heads-up play out of Austin. I thought Afro maybe could have had that one, but... he ended up turning around. And then LAG, comfortable defense. They go up 5-1. London got some pity rounds on the board, but at the end of it, LAG, they were able to close it out. We'll take a look at the final scoreboard. It was Austin, right? 11-4 coming in from Slasher, 8-5 from Spart. Just making really good plays. Afro struggling a little bit in this one. A little bit of a stinky.
So I wanted to bring this up. So when you account for the Pro-Am, Ravens actually have the lowest map win percentage online for any team.
You mean on land?
Or
Land or
sorry,
online?
on land, my bad. On land for any team outside of Legion. Legion's the only
That's
team.
brutal.
I guess you could count subliners with that too, but because they're such a different team, and you know, based on majors, like I really don't count that. But yeah, they're outside of Legion, they have the worst map win percentage on land, which is actually crazy to see.
Yep. No, that's fucking. Wait, you say that again one more time, Pat? The last part. What did you say?
On land, the only
Yeah.
team that has a worse map win percentage is Paris Legion.
Damn. Well, that's
There's,
not good.
yeah,
It's
they're
never,
statistically the second worst
it's
land
never
team in
good to
terms
be
of map
compared
wins.
to the Paris
Yeah.
Legion. It is never good to share a stat line with Paris. But let's hop into the next one, man. This was a good one as well. We have Seattle Surge going up against the Boston Breach, Bocage Hardpoint, Tuscan S&D, Tuscan Control, Berlin Hardpoint, Berlin S&D. Anything in the vetoes that caught you guys' eye?
Actually, really quick, Tom, before you actually get in this, I just saw, this is kind of some breaking news. I'm
Okay.
gonna link it in the chat if you want to click
Yeah,
it.
sure. I'll pull it up. No problem.
Someone from the Surge actually got arrested tonight in New York.
What? Dude,
Yeah,
what?
look, there's a video. Pull that up.
Okay, let me pull this up, Pat, and see what
They're being
What the-
loaded in the back of a police van.
Dude, Pat, come on, bro.
Yeah,
What's
it's
wrong
hard,
with you,
bro.
bro? What the fuck is wrong with you, Pat? What's wrong with you, boys? What is this, the COD competitive Reddit? Jesus fucking Christ, bro. But let's get back into the match, bro. Pat, what do you think about the fucking vetoes?
Yeah, so into the vetoes, Tom. You know, I think honestly, what fucked Seattle in this series was, and we've talked about this for any team, was that like auto veto, right? Like, dude, having an auto veto fucks you so bad in particular matchups, and Boston's one of those teams. Like, Boston would love every series if a team just would veto Gav for them. I feel like that's, and we've talked about it. Maybe Zinni wouldn't love it, but I think the rest of them would. And so when Seattle comes to a series and they have that auto veto of Gav, it gets rid of Boston having to worry about having Gav, and they get to play maps they're comfortable on. And like, yeah, I know this went down to the wire, but dude, I mean, like, just having that out, like, out of mind, out of sight right away is such a good feeling if you're Boston. I've been on that side where like a team auto vetoes my worst map, and I'm like, thank you, thank God.
I think the way Seattle like does their vetoes is it's from a confidence standpoint where they don't really show respect to other teams in terms of what they're good at, because they think they're better at it, which is, I mean, rightfully it's good to be confident, but I think they're just like for example, the auto veto, what Pat said, they're just getting rid of a map that, in my opinion, yeah, Boston has played. I don't think they're very good at it, but they're also not very good at it. So they're just squaring up on maps that Boston, have an equal chance on, in my opinion. And it was just one of those. It's one of those things where they just decided to be like super overconfident in their ability, because I mean, rightfully they are the last major champions. They probably struggled online, and they were like, okay, let's bring this back to LAN, right? Like LAN, we won the last tournament.
To be
Let's see
fair,
how we can
though,
do.
to be fair, this has always been Lamar's like thing. This is how he's always approached the veto system. He did the same thing in World War II
London
on
Ducks.
TK. Yeah, they just would not play London, and
Yeah.
like it's kind of the same thing.
It's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
It's gonna hurt you in the end.
Eventually, it will.
Yeah,
you,
but
It's
you
just
get
the
away with it.
matchups. When you get those matchups that the other team benefits from your auto veto, you get fucked. It might be okay 70% of the time, but those 30% matchups, like, you get punished pretty hard.
Yeah.
Well, as we head into the Bocage Hardpoint, this is pretty much the fucking Pred show. I feel like every time Pred is on this map, he just fucking bullies people.
Yeah.
And I just think he's just really aware. He does a really good job at getting a kill and then just changing his position super quick. And I feel like people have a hard time keeping track of him on the map. And then also, I feel like TJ had maybe a little bit of a stinky in this one. He had a rough map, but let's tune into the Listening with Seattle Surge and see how they were commenting this one. Hey, maybe it was a big stinky. A big one.
Nice.
Getting a bar. We can go. I have front door. Let's go gate.
Hit him with the nade. Hey, low water, 8
Low water? Okay.
He's over there somewhere. No.
I'm still playing middle, Dante.
On time, on time. Trips.
Let's go time.
Trips,
I heard you.
to the right.
Low water. Trips weak. He goes in. He's on time.
Okay. Nade over.
Play kills. Still pinching
Yeah,
shit.
nade over.
What about that? I'm needing time.
That is going to do it for listening with Seattle Surge, and you hear Pred in the fucking comms. He said, "I'm shitting on
Yo,
him."
is Sid muted?
Nah, he just be blacked out, I think.
Bro,
I didn't hear it once. I felt like
I like the immediate response there. He didn't even do no hezzy.
he's just blacked out.
I mean, he's frying. He's doing his thing.
Chris, I know we're only on game 1, but I want to give you the opportunity to take back what you said, that this team lives and dies by Mac. 'Cause
What do you mean?
I think we saw it today. Mac had a pretty good series. Sib, pretty good series. Pred, amazing series. Lamar threw up the stinky.
Yeah, but they went map 5. Like in a series where like they go map 5, like and Mac plays well. I'm not, like you can't just make that statement. I think whenever Mac doesn't play, I think whenever Mac doesn't play good, these guys get horked on. You saw it in the online qualifier. Like I felt like they didn't even have close series in the online qualifier. If I might be mistaken, but like I can't remember them
Pred
having
was the only one that played good in the whole thing.
Okay, yeah, but
Not
like
even
what I'm
Sid
saying
played
Well, I
is
think
like,
you're both kind of, honestly, it's one of those situations where you both might be kind of right here.
yeah, I mean, no shit. It's not as black and white as that. Yeah. I think Lamar, from an individual talent perspective, has always needed to step it up for his teams. Like he does well enough for them to get by and be competitive a lot of the time, but sometimes that like in a year where the league is this competitive, it's not going to always be good enough. Like sometimes you got to turn around or you got to like take the extra mile, right, and just get better, like on an individual perspective. It's not always going to be enough to be like, oh, I'm the leader, I'm the commander of the team, I can afford to play average sometimes, you know. So I agree with you, Pat, but I mean, it's one series and way to go, map 5. These guys need to get back into form, and they got a lot of work to do going into champs.
Yeah, we could kind of see how the end of this boat cage closes out. Seattle, they run away with this one. They had a pretty big lead, especially for a boat cage, and it pretty much just comes down to slaying power and just Dante and Sid roaming the map, or Dante and Pred roaming the map, especially Pred. TJ obviously couldn't get anything going. Nero honestly just needed some help in this.
I think we see why Zinni wants to be on Gav.
That's not right, bro.
I think we know. I think that conversation, we know who's picking Gav for this team. You got Nero going for a 40, Vivid in the mix, like, and then Zin throwing up a big stinky on the mixie map.
Yeah, and then we could take a look at the final scoreboard here. It was Nero 43 and 37, just not enough. I feel like on boat cage too, he's another one that just always puts some numbers. And Vivid as well. He's usually one that takes over on boat cage, but he was 32 and 36 in this one, so it just seemed like the ARs couldn't get anything going on Boston, and the subs were just too much on Seattle.
I mean, Boston is good. Boston is good at Bokage, but like this is I think there's a few teams where like I feel like Boston is just outclassed, and Seattle's like one of them. When Seattle's playing really well on this map, a team like New York, even a team like Rokkr, when they're playing really good on this map, like I think Boston is pretty much like outclassed in terms of their just aggression. Because I mean, not to harp on like Tej or Zinni too much, but like, I think Vivid and Nero are both really good at that map, but I've seen, you know, Tej and Methods both on that map have like pretty average games.
If you are Boston and the way that you stack up against top teams right now, figure out how to get good at Berlin Hardpoint.
Yeah.
A lot of these vetoes change in their favor if they can add another hardpoint map to their pool.
Yeah, but the problem has been if they keep playing Gav, like, especially as the tournament goes on and better teams are, you know, there, like, dude, I don't want to see them playing Gav versus any of these teams that's left in this event.
That's why they got to add another map to their pool, though, because Bokage map 1's always sort of a mix fest. Unless you're Minnesota, you just insta win it. And to your point, like they've gotten smoked on Gav against some of the better Gav teams.
But they've played Berlin though. Like I've seen Berlin in their series plenty of times.
I don't think they played Berlin recently though. No,
remember they were vetoing, I think, Tuscan in their last online game or their last game period. They vetoed Tuscan, and I think there was like a rumor they weren't playing well online or in scrims, you know, on Tuscan, so they vetoed it.
The way it seems to me, like when they stack up against like the more overall well-rounded teams, like the top teams, is just like their team synergy is just like it's just weighed terribly. Like for example, like Vivid and Nero really excel on like the close range maps, and then like you have people like Zinni and Tej who at times will excel on like the bigger maps with their ARs and stuff like that. While like you look at the top teams, and there are people that can excel on both of those type of environments, like dips no matter what. Like so that like if they don't improve their map pool to a point where they're just always playing extremes, right? They're always playing like a Gavutu, or they're always playing a Bokic on their team. They're gonna get outmatched by people that have better players in those supplementary categories. For example, like on Bokic, the supplements are like methods and like teach, and then on like Gavutu, you know, the supplements there are Vivid and Nero.
They played Berlin in this series. I just remember they did, and also chat reminded me.
Right.
But like to that point, like again, if you get good at Berlin, you can take Gav out of the mix.
Well, I think they need to have like London vetoes.
And make the other team choose. But go ahead.
I feel like they should play like London, where they either veto Bokic or Gav based on who they're playing, and they play Tuscan Berlin, and then sometimes it'll be a Bokic. Like that should be this team's game plan. They should avoid Gav at this stage of the game, especially going into champs run. Like there's only the good teams left. Like, dude, avoid Gav at all costs, unless you're playing a team who just doesn't play Gav. Like,
no, that's what I'm saying though. But like, for example, like they can't do that. They can't just they can definitely avoid Gav, but versus a team that doesn't play Gav, they can't afford to just like say we're not going to play this map. Like even though you want them to play sub maps all the time, they just need to get another map in their pool. Like you were saying, they need to get Berlin in their pool because they can't take extremes all the time.
No, I get what Pat's saying, because the Tuscan thing opens. I think more so than Berlin, because they have played Berlin a lot this major.
They were vetoing
They played
Tuscan.
0 Tuscan like so far this major cycle. They need that fourth map in the pool,
to
give themselves that to Pat's point. I agree with that strategy, that kind of dual option. Like you're not going to get. Sometimes you might get lucky to get your 2 best hard points, but you know, having 3 your best 4.
They should never be picking Gav. I think that's the baseline, and the fact that they do fucks them in series, in my opinion. Like, bro, if this team had a series where it was Gav and Bokic, like on land, like I'd be kind of scared depending on who they're playing. Like,
yeah. Just to get into the map a little bit, I just thought Boston, initially, they went up 3 rounds in a row. On both their defenses, they just rush mid to well. So they just get super aggro on their defenses, and it worked for them flawlessly. Seattle started to adapt a little bit, and that's what they ended up doing on their D, and taking a round. But the biggest round for me, and you already saw it already on your screen in the 2-0 round, but this was a massive round for me, and this is what Boston just does really well. I like that they get aggressive here on the B side with the bomb. You can see a guy lurking top fire. That's number 2, Zinni. He ends up dropping back and getting with the team. But look at how they played this. They end up pushing through B. They get a kill here. Tony's going to get another one, and look what they do. They end up bringing this bomb back and wrapping this one all the way back to A. So just breaking some ankles here. They did this in the second round, and they do it again here. And in my opinion, this was the biggest round because Seattle was starting to keep up or start to get some momentum in this one. And then eventually, I think this was the play that just kind of solidified the dub for them. So just good plays from Boston. I like when teams break ankles like that. When they rush one site, they show so much presence, and it kind of shifts the whole setup on the defensive team. And then they just wrap it back with 20 seconds left and kind of just keep Seattle guessing. Seattle just has no idea where they're going. And then in this round right here, I think it was just a good heads-up play out of Vivid. And again, this is just another mistake from Seattle. Like, you need to make sure that you have view of the bomb. And right here, I guess Vivid just made a really good heads-up play stretching it. But I just don't think Sib should even be up here if stretching the bomb is even a thing. Because the minute they see him top fire, that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to stretch the bomb, and he can't do anything. So I thought maybe Seattle might have been able to push this one, but Vivid with a good heads-up play there, hopping on the defuse and stretching the bomb there.
It's probably just one of those situations, Tom, where people sometimes, I've noticed this a lot in pro league matches, they're not as meticulous as you might think when they plant the bomb, where they just think like, oh, I can see it from here, where it's like almost not like predetermined. I've seen a lot of times in this game where people think they planted for something and then they can't see it.
Yeah.
Like people need to actually like, it's almost like they need to practice planting. Like, it's so bad. I've seen it happen way too many times. It happens a lot on like Berlin too, with like when you're planning on that what's like the site on the left side of the map, is it A? Like the one in the office?
Yeah.
People think they could see it from the stairs and they can't. Like the guy can stretch it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, people do that all the time on this game.
Yeah, that's what MC did the other day. He stretched it there. But we could take a look at the scoreboard. Everybody from Boston pulling weight, and then on Seattle, Mac was 11-6, and everybody else was just getting kind of pooed on. So Mac maybe needed a little bit more help in that one. Any final thoughts as we hop into the control, Pat? Ben?
Mac is
Anything
so
at
much
all?
better on land, dude. I said it before. I'll say it again. He actually
You
gets.
said Mac?
Yeah, he gets smoked online, dude. Like he gets smoked.
Especially this major. He had a really tough online major, but he definitely showed up
Yeah, it
today.
was one match, but I mean, at the end of the
Yeah.
day, it's all he can do.
Pat,
Hold
any final
up.
thoughts as we head into the control? What's up, Pat? Talk to me.
Yeah, we're calling people showing up for having a 1.0.
Well, I don't care about
nowadays?
his stats. You can just tell from the play style, bro. He gets
Yeah,
smoked.
one good map. He had one good map.
He played good on the first map. He played fine. He
played
had really good
average on
S&D.
the
But he was
first
fine in the
map.
control. What are you talking
Nah, he's
about?
popping off in the control. Yeah, he had a good map here.
He's playing good
Bro,
here too.
Listen, Pat, that's my
listen,
son,
bro.
Take
We're
it easy,
gassing
Pat.
people for doing like the bare minimum. Back
he's
in
a
my day, bro,
sub.
if you
Oh,
weren't a
back in your day, there we
2.0
go.
having streaks every like, bro, you weren't getting talked
Bro,
about.
you
Yeah,
do
but
realize
back in your day, there was
we're-
no slide
in
canceling,
these
bro. You
games,
just L-trigger everything.
1.0s or we're gassing 1.0s
no. In the era of COD that we play in
Yo,
now,
that's
having
crazy.
in the era of COD that we play in now, having even or positive KD as a sub is like only part of like playing well. It's about your engagements, your
especially in this
damage.
game.
Listen, bro, I don't
etc.
care if you run a damn shotgun. I'm not gassing a 1.0.
Listen, man,
We gotta
it's
hold
more
people
than-
to higher.
it's
We gotta
more
hold
than
people
just
to
the
higher
KD, dude.
standards, bro. We
Well,
gotta
ju-
hold
well,
people
just
to
to
higher
get
more
in-
than
standards.
just the KD to
just
me.
to get into the map a little bit, I thought Lamar had a fantastic map in this one, and Seattle just kind of look at the lives. I mean, it's 12-4. They just kept that pressure. They just kept running at people the whole entire round, and it just felt like they kept stopping clock and just mowing Boston down. So Boston, again, just struggling in the lane department, and it was TJ again, he's 9-24 going into the fourth round. I mean, he really struggled in this series. The first map and in the control, but that was just a really big offense.
This is another
Seattle.
example, Tom, of why Seattle has been so good in Tuscan control all season. They just on offense. I don't know how they do it, man. They just do a good job of really getting that top church P5 control, and they just get
It's
that
the
instant 3 or 4
subs.
dead, and they hop.
It's Mac and Sib. They're just so aggro, and they play off each other well, and they take good routes. And I'm sure Lamar has had a little bit of that, right? I mean, Lamar always wants to make sure his sub players are taking the correct route at all times. And I definitely think in the Tuscan here, that's what they were doing. It was just Pred again, who was just being such a nuisance. He just switches his positions, and people can't keep track of him. This guy's all over the map. So just really, really good map out of Pred. Really good map out of really good map out of Lamar. Really good Mac. What the fuck am I saying? It's been a long day. And then Seattle, they were able to close on the control, and it pretty much just starts from that offense win. As they go into the defense, it was pretty comfortable. Boston couldn't really get close. I think they got it to that point a couple times, but they just keep pushing them out. When you get kills on Tuscan defense and you push out P5 and Fire and Roof and all that, it is hard, man, to cap this.
Zed is so funny, dude. Zed comes in the chat. He's like, good map out of Teach, just how we practiced it. It just made me laugh.
What do you mean? It was only a 0.3. It was a solid map. Solid map.
It was only a 0.3. Yeah, he struggled there in that one. This guy's getting all fucking hyped up. We'll take a look at the final scoreboard: 13-34 overall from TJ. So just a rough one, right? Vivid 36-26. On the other side for Seattle, it was just Pred 34-22. He had himself a fucking map, and Lamar was also making big plays. He ended up 27-21. So. That's going to do it for the control as we hop into the Berlin Hardpoint.
Best map of the series right here.
You think this was the best map of the series?
Oh yeah, this map was a banger.
Yeah, this is a banger. Honestly, this whole map was back and forth. I'm pretty sure Merc and Maven were casting this one, right? Were they casting this one? Maybe not. I don't know who the fuck was that. Well, I don't even know.
I thought Mark maybe did the next. No, they might have cast this series. I don't know, bro.
I just remember whoever was casting even said
turn
it.
the sound up for a sec. You can
Just a very back and
seconds.
forth. No, that was Lando.
Okay.
Study and Lando who casted this. I said, who the fuck was that? Also, by the way, does Lando sound like Courage to any of you guys or no?
Yeah, he's got a little bit of a Jack thing
He's
going
got
on.
a little bit. He's got a little bit of Jack in him almost. I feel like Lando and Study have been really good on the desk. I feel like the first year they were getting a lot of people just didn't like him. They just always bitching and moaning about him. But I definitely think they put in the extra time behind the scenes, and I think it's important to show love to the casters because they also put in the work, man, and they also practice casting. I remember when Study was sitting in 8s every day, casting on stream, just trying to get better at it. And then Merc said we all said the same.
Thing. I think it was just a chemistry thing. They needed time to have more chemistry.
Talk about this map. It's more of a map trend. Have you guys noticed this event? Like a lot of teams are getting close to winning on a P5. They can't close down a P5, and then the comeback starts because they just bottled the P1.
They
I feel like
you can
P1.
chain.
I feel
Yeah, you
I
could
feel
chain
like
the
when this
hills.
yeah,
P1
but I
and
feel
P2
like
are chain, or not
P-
P1,
P-
P2,
P-
started on
P5,
Berlin.
P1.
P2 is a good
Yeah.
chain too because you can push scrap on P2 and hold spawns. It's very hard to flip. You can constant push it.
There's only one hill that doesn't chain in this game, and it's P3 to 4. But P1, P5 chain, and then P2, P3 chain. That's literally the
You
chain
can
where
chain
people
P3,
stack up.
P4 if you somehow spawn yourself out. I've seen that happen, but it's very
Yeah,
rare.
I mean, yeah, it's
Yeah.
very rare.
Yeah, you can see Boston that P1 they were able to get some time on it, and Seattle was able to break on in. And then as we get over to the P2s and P3s, this is where Boston started to kick up. They do a really good job here. They break on in, and they end up getting the spawns for next as well. So not only do they lock down majority of this time, they get some of the scrap time. They play aggressive on it. And then this P3, I just like the way they lock it down, and it just starts with TJ. I think TJ's making a fantastic play here, getting pushed up. He got a kill Docs, and that allowed Tony to pick up his trade. And once you get those kills Docs, you know they're spawning front. You kind of have them funneled, and I just thought it was a really good hold from Boston. You can see Pred, he ends up using the streak here, and that ends up doing nothing for them because he ends up killing Tony in the back, and then Vivid and Nero just go big. Vivid with 2 and Nero with 1, so they're able to burn the streak off of Seattle as well because Pred was able to pick up.
Because they didn't have map control. They didn't have fire control yet.
Yeah, I don't know why he called in that streak like that. I mean, you need fire control. You need to make sure everybody's set up. Make sure everybody's set up before you call a streak. And also, if you're gonna streak, Dante needs to stay the fuck down. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't die when the streak is in the air. You got to stay alive. So maybe a little bit of a misplay from Seattle there because that's kind of where Boston started to take this one away. They're able to get a lot of time on that one. Then Seattle, they bring it back on the second P4. They end up getting a big hold here, just locking it down. This hill is also hard to break too if teams are set up the right way. What's the best way to set up this P4 hill? I feel like having somebody in hill, and then having somebody like back trains, and then the other 2 guys just kind of roaming P5 and back warehouse. You know, I feel like it's the best way to do it. As long as you just make sure nobody flanks around the back, you can just kind of push people through the front, and it's a pretty easy hill to hold.
The most ideal way to hold this hill is to funnel them into glass, and their only way to really cross your sight lines is either across that main door in glass or outer glass. Like holding that back train spot, keeping that width of the map, making sure no one's crossing deep to your right to your spawn, and force them through. Like the P1 glass side is going to be how you
there was a weird play here on the third P1, and it started with Mac. Spawns end up flipping here. And I want to get your guys' opinions. Do you think it's because of where Mac is right now? Because he ends up just taking a fucking super long route here. You can kind of see what he does. So he stays alive train. He's staying alive like glass area, kind of pushing out front. And take a look at the route he takes. So he ends up going all the way around. He picks up 1. Lamar picks up 2. You can see number 8. He's already turning. And then the flips come in. I think Seattle, they know here that the flips are in. But I feel like things got a little chaotic here after that happened. Little bit of chaos. Mac ends up flipping where I feel like it'll be better if you just kind of hold and not take that route and just kind of funnel them glass. But
the guy also died secret, which probably didn't help his hold.
No,
to be fair, he's blocking the spawn point because you don't spawn like.
He's blocking it.
Like there's no other place to spawn. You either spawn back fire,
which is why
or
number
you
8
spawn
turned
like
around
towards the treehouse.
They knew they were blocking it. It's not like they didn't know what was going on. It's just they're making things hectic for themselves. I mean, look at how this all they all of a sudden, you know, their head is on a swirl, and they have to spin around, and people are coming from everywhere, you know. So it's like it ended up hurting them a little bit. And Boston, they were able to get in there towards the end and soak up some time and do just enough to where Seattle can't get the W. And then Boston, with Seattle only needing 2 points to win this one, Boston just get to this P2 early, just play their corners and play their spots, and Seattle just couldn't get in. Just a good play out of Boston to clutch this one up. Boston almost got eliminated here, man. This was a close
Tom, pause it
match.
right here. This is another situation. Chris would love to get your feedback here. This ended up being a big play. So number 6, if you back it up a sec, Lamar's gonna actually number 8. I'm sorry. Pred's gonna pinch through old and go around sort of the spawn building, and Lamar actually spawns behind him and gets an easy kill. Again, that default spawn
here on the P2.
Who? Number 6.
Yeah. Number 6 is gonna come around and watch where number 2 spawns.
Yeah, so number 6 pushes through old.
What the fuck?
Number 6 pushes through old. He gets taken down. I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
No, you didn't see it. No, it was before that.
So right, so
number
that.
You didn't see it. No,
so number 8 right here. You're saying when number 8's pushing through here.
I'm sorry, I confused players. It's my bad. I made that.
No, you're good. You said number 8. So
Why did he spawn towards like the?
I mean, does anyone else think that's almost kind of a misplay though by Lamar to do that?
Normally
I think
people are
that's-
hitting
I
P5.
feel like-
No, because the thing is Lamar's hoping that they can get 1 or 2 kills, and he's probably gonna cut off spawners.
Bro, you
Right,
won't.
but that's what I'm saying.
my
Why isn't he cutting off from the
Wait,
window
go-
by
I mean, the
Well,
real
so-
question is why the fuck
Wait,
is number
watch
2
this shit, watch
spawning
this
there?
shit.
I actually
Keep
agree-
watching,
I
keep
actually
watching,
agree
keep
with Pat.
watching, keep watching after Lamar dies. Just keep watching.
Yeah, so
Keep
Lamar
watching.
ends up going down. He probably lost full that Tony even spawned there. And in Boston, they just hold on.
It'll happen here in a second.
Number 8
Pause
pinches.
it. Pause it. Pause it. Pause it. Pause it.
All right,
Go
pause.
back a little bit to where
Yeah, I
number
did,
3
I
spawned.
did.
Go back. Or you see where number 3 spawned?
Mhm.
So now, what did I tell you guys about this game? How there's no actual spawn point, and the game will just spawn you in a direct area, but slightly different every time
Yeah,
for no
that's
reason.
why timings are always hard.
So
as
go
fuck.
back to look at where number 3 spawned. He spawned on the other side of the fence, and look at the route he takes. Right, he goes to the right. Look
Yeah.
at where number 2 spawned before he killed Lamar.
Yeah, number 2 spawned more to the left. He spawned all the way over
He
here.
literally he kills
spawned out in the
Lamar. He
open.
kills Lamar because it's just the route the game gave him. Look,
Yeah, no, seriously.
literally one
Th-
step.
That's why I think
Well-
Lamar. That's why I think Lamar lost full there because he was gonna cut off spawners, and I think Lamar here thought that they were gonna be spawning to his right, and that he was just gonna catch him on the cross or get him tagged
What?
up.
But I
bro.
think to the earlier point, normally what people do in that situation, like if you're Lamar, is you're hitting through P5, you're going P5 building a window, and instead he takes a little bit of a deeper route. I kind of see the thought process, but if he had gone through P5 side, he probably gets across and helps his team out in hill.
I
They only
mean,
give you
I agree with
few
you, but
seconds at a
like
time.
the play he made.
Well, why
would
not?
have
But
been
he had an AR.
fine
Why
if
not
he's-
just sit there and cut off? Like truly cut off. His teammates
Yeah.
are gonna get kills. Like those guys are obviously coming off spawn no matter what he does. I feel like if he just sits in that window, he's even more of a nuisance than pushing up and potentially dying because
Well,
he has survivability in P5 in that window.
Well, here's the thing: when he's making that play, pretty much everyone on the Boston team was alive until it's up until like the guy died that he was already like kind of pushed back and committed to his route where he would have had to double back towards P5. Like in his
But he was
head,
coming off old though. Like why not just go P5 regardless?
yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, like he still had an option. The reason he took the long route is because like everyone is still alive, so he's assuming he's gonna run into a setup where people are potentially watching P5. So he would have somebody's mic is like picking up feedback.
Tommy's
They might
mic.
be you, Tom.
Oh my bad. Keep going.
He's going into a situation where he's expecting a full setup. So in a full setup, people are going to be watching that P5 pinch. So he's not going to go and take a straight up gunfight on a player watching him. He's committed to taking that long route first.
I mean,
it only
yeah, I
happens that a
agree with
guy
you, but
dies.
I didn't
when
want
he's
him to-
fully committed to it.
But I didn't want him to pinch P5. I just want him to go to that like window by P5 where the stairs are that overlooks like that window in
Yeah.
the top left corner right here.
I mean, I understand. I'm just saying he in his head he's probably thinking he's going to run into a player rather than him just taking the sneaky route and getting completely around that guy's like line of sight or potential like setup. But either way, the difference in that play is literally spawning one step away for absolutely zero reason.
I can explain to you why that happens. I'll do it off stream, but I know why that happens. It
Why
Pat,
you
I
do it
know
off-
you
why you
free
do it
info.
off stream?
Yeah.
You don't want to give away free info, Pat?
Nah, I can't. No, it's not necessarily free info. It's just like I understand and know why that happens. Like I've seen that.
It shouldn't be a thing though.
Because you think it's random, but it's not. It's like it's just designed that way.
It's just so bad.
Yeah,
Like
and
it's no, go ahead.
No, you could go ahead, Chris. Go ahead.
I was gonna say there's no reason why there should be this many spawn points in a selected area, and sometimes they just happen for absolutely no reason. Like a lot of pros like were agreeing with me when I tweeted something about it the other day, and like it's just so bad. It's such bad game design. That's all I was gonna say. That's why I said keep going because it doesn't make any sense, dude. It's deciding games.
Yeah.
The game will literally spawn you in a place where it
Well, I mean,
just
Chris-
tells you
Chris,
what to do,
It goes back to
and
what
it
I was
gives it to
saying,
you.
Like that, as somebody who played this SMG role, one thing that I always practiced was my timings around the map. Like that was a skill that you need to have. You need to be aware. You need to know where people were spawning, and it was a skill that I feel like players are really good at. Like for instance, somebody like Scump. Like I think Scump's timings are really, really good, right? So it's like I feel like a lot of these top sub players are having a hard time with those timing, and even AR players. It goes for both, because people are spawning all over the place. You don't know what the actual spawn point is. You know, even if it's like 5 steps to the right, that affects it.
Like
You know,
it's
that
like, oh,
affects
he
timing.
spawned in the back. Like I couldn't tell you exactly where. I just know he spawned somewhere in that directional area.
Yeah.
What's Pat putting in chat, dude?
I don't know, but let's get into the fucking match a little bit. Boston went A every single offense. I'm surprised that Seattle wasn't picking up on it. They were just rushing A, getting the bomb down, and just holding. And they were able to win 2 offenses, and they end up getting a really good retake on their defense. So just good plays coming out of the Boston guys. And then this is kind of where Seattle was able to get a good round. Pred was actually able to get a 1v3 here. And this is just what Pred does, man. I thought this was a fantastic play. Pred, he's able to get one here, picks up the AR, able to gun Nero, and I thought this might have been a little momentum switch. Damn, what the fuck are you guys typing in there?
Oh, I didn't know you could hear that. I didn't know you could hear that. I didn't know you could hear that.
Ding, 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 ding.
Wait, that's
My bad,
actually
my bad,
interesting
my
if
bad.
that's how they work, though.
You good, Pat? You good,
That's
bro.
how it works. I didn't know you had the dings on.
No,
Well, that
you
should-
Tom,
that
Tom,
should
to go back
not
to
be a thing.
the A point, and they mentioned during the cast that a team had played Seattle, like either earlier in the tournament or last couple of weeks, and they've done the same strat. So I wonder if Boston watched the VOD and just
Yeah, they just went A. They just went A
Yeah.
every time. And then in this round, Nero, he just look at the route that Nero takes. I mean, this is just pure confidence. He just rushes out of secret by himself, and look at the route. He catches Lamar with his pants down. See you later. And then he's just gonna jump onto Pred here and boom, take him out. Big 2-piece. That's gonna open up the A site again. This is the 3rd offense where they're playing A, and they just ran at the site. And Nero, he was able to pick up the ace here, finds another one here. And then look at the play from Nero. I like how the bomb is planted for like the stairs, and look at the route he takes. He goes all the way around, takes a really big deep route just so he can get eyes on that bomb site just in case TJ dies, and he's able to get some nice shots and pick up the ace right there. In Boston, they're able to go up 4-1, so just really good heads up play out of Nero. And then as we get into the 4-1 round, Seattle go A, but Boston are able to retake it. And I'm not really too sure. It starts with Lamar in the back. Dante's able to find one, so it's a 4v3 situation in favor of Seattle. And these are rounds that they just have to close out. Lamar gets a little bit of bad timing, and I think that pretty much opens things up for Boston. Once they're able to kill Lamar on that back train, now Seattle, they got their head on the swirl. They got to try and play their corners here, and Mac plays a little corner and able to get one, make it a 2v2 situation. And TJ just had an absolute map here, man. TJ struggled in a couple respawns this series, but he turned the fuck up here in the map number 5, and he took care of business. So TJ, a little S&D mastermind. He's been playing Search and Destroy for a very long time. You guys could see how Boston was just able to run away with this one. Seattle was able to win another round and take another round on the board.
Bro, honestly,
pretty comfortable for
Boston had to have done their research on this map because this was a map that I feel like Seattle has a lot of VOD on. Like an obscene amount of VOD. They had to have done their homework. If they didn't, I would be surprised because this is a map that, especially, you want what's funny? Lamar had a 0-8. I feel like Lamar plays the most predictable on this map. Like I feel like every time they go to that A site, Lamar's playing on the roof in the spawn deep all the way in the back, and it just seems like they kind of just knew what.
He's there though. It is hard when somebody's playing back there because you don't know where the fuck he is.
Yeah, but you start to like learn and like play around those positions and around those set strategies a lot more. Like they had to have done their homework.
Yeah. But
that was a dominant.
Before we
win.
end this series, Pat,
S&D.
any final thoughts on Seattle Surge?
Yeah, so I did have a final thought on this team. I actually made a tweet, Ben. I'm not sure if you saw it today or anyone in the chat.
I saw a tweet.
Yeah, so I made a tweet that kind of and Chris, I'm sorry I had to do you dirty in the tweet.
What'd you
my
do?
bad, Chris. Damn.
Oh, Chris didn't see it. Tom, you might want to put it up on stream so Chris can see it.
Give me a link, Pat. Give me a link. I'll bring it
Got
out.
you.
See it, man.
Right now. It's in the chat for you. Bang.
Man, you were quick with that one, eh?
Yeah,
You
so
got that one saved.
So when we think, I'll let you play it first and I'll explain it. So go ahead.
Let's tune in. Pat tweeted blip as predicted over a month ago. Reversion to the mean. Seattle Surge Major 4 9 through 12. Make sure this is in your event recap. Let's tune in and see what Pat had to say.
I mean, we'll take this event win. I think congrats to Seattle. They obviously won the event, but I'm still not as high on them as I think you guys are, and I think. Honestly, this is just going to be a blip on the radar as the season progresses.
Haircut look good. See, I'm different to you, Pat. I don't think this is going to be a blip on the radar. I don't think they might sit there and win everything after, but I think these guys are definitely here to stay when it comes to our best teams.
All right, and that's going to do it for the clip. Go ahead, Pat.
The radar sound is kidding me, dude.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. Shout out to Tiffany for making that one. Pat came into the chat looking for somebody to make this fucking meme for him.
Yeah, I didn't want to do two separate things, I wanted to combine it. But yeah, so shout out Tiff. So yeah, I mean, the thing for me is like, look, this team was very average all year. They peaked Major 3, won the event, and then like everything, bro, like when you have those super outlier anomalies, like things are gonna come back down to the mean. So for me, not surprised to see Seattle 12th. Not surprised to see him get shit on in the online qualifier. I think they're better than 12th. Just to be clear. And honestly, the one thing that surprised me the most is the fact that Pred somehow managed to keep up his MVP level performance all the way from stage 3 through all of stage 4 and even here on LAN, and they still couldn't get the job done. So if I'm a Seattle Surge fan, I'm a little nervous because my MVP caliber player is playing at top 3 in the game right now, and they're still not producing wins. So yeah, I mean, it was a call I made a month ago, and like I said, sometimes I'm early, but I'm not wrong. But next match.
Yeah, let's get into the next one. We got Optic Texas going up against the Minnesota Rokkr. We have a Boat Cage Hardpoint, Tuscan S&D, Tuscan Control, Gav Hardpoint, and Boat Cage Search and Destroy. Pat, I'll let you kind of kick things off on the vetoes. I feel like Optic's Boat Cage has been very, very shaky.
Yeah, so I was actually in a convo with Ben earlier, and we talked about we're going to bring this up on the flank. It makes 0 sense for Optic to play Boat Cage against the Rokkr. It's Rokkr. It's the only map Rocker's been winning in any of their series in Hardpoint or like at all.
Mm-hmm.
And Optic's like 6. They lost 6 out of their last 8 times they played Boat Cage.
Yeah.
So to me, this was just an absolute brain fart
Have
in
they
terms of
6
letting
out of their
this.
last 8?
I think that was the stat that I've received.
Wow, you wouldn't expect that with a team like this, with a roster like this, on a map like this,
Yeah, it's not good. It's not like what it used to be for them when they were winning a lot. But anyway, yeah, I think it was, honestly, a mistake to let it through. It was, I mean, Ben called it an ego chow, but I think Ben, like, to your point, like, I feel like even if this wasn't Ray's decision, even if they had a game plan, they weren't going to do it, but they felt good today and wanted to ego chow on them. I think, you got to step in and just say, look, we had a plan. We're sticking to the plan. It is what it is. And to your point, like, you don't think that should be the coach's responsibility. I mean, even for me and Chris, you can kind of feel free to share, because I think you were very in your team's veto process. But like, if you have a game plan and like one of your teammates is just like calling something on the fly randomly, bro, like, I mean, I know I personally, like, bro, you shut that shit down. Like, if you just think it's a dumb idea or a risky idea, you just shut it down. It's like we already discussed our plan. We already got what we got. To me, it's just like nervousness and like just people being indecisive. But like,
Bro, I hate when people do that in the vetoes. It's just like you go in with this process, you know what the team's good at, and instead of like trying to do that, you psych yourself out and be like,
yeah,
oh, I know what they're gonna do here, so we should do this to throw them off, and then you just fuck yourself. Like,
bro, the thing
it happens all the
the
time.
thing
Bro.
I hate is when you're like, people in warm-up scrims are frying on the map and they're like, no, we won like our 2 warm-up scrims on this map, let's just play it. And it's like, dude, we've already addressed that. That's literally the only
good
map
on this map.
Yeah, bro. I hated that. I would literally just shut people down. I wouldn't even care. I'd go rogue. Like, and that's what I was trying to say, Ben. Is I think Ray should have, if it wasn't Ray's decision and it was players, Ray should have stepped up in that moment and been like you guys are being idiots.
Yeah, I think this is like the only map they've shown light on.
Yeah, to your point, bro. Minnesota is clearly right now. Maybe I know the season's kind of over, and we'll get to that soon here. They were clearly the end of the best Bocage team, probably going into
the only map they could win.
It's like, dude, like we are Optic. Should be an elite respawn team. Let's take away these guys' best map and make them score up on another map, and we'll be.
They could win all 3 of the other ones any day of the week.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just to get into the Boat Cage a little bit, it was just the P4s. It was a pretty back and forth game, but both the first P4 and the second P4, Minnesota were just able to lock it down. That's where they get most of their time in this one. So I think Optic's definitely going to have to go back and take a look at those P4 hills. I think that's the money hill as well in this map, is it not? P4 on Boat Cage, I'm pretty sure is where teams lock it down the most. All these other hills, it just seems like a mix fest on Boat Cage. But P4, I feel like you can lock down all these hills, but P4 is definitely the money hill. At least that's what it seems like.
So right now, the team that holds is getting about 42 seconds. Next closest is P3 with 41. So yeah, it's the money hill in Bocage.
Okay, well, let's tune into the listening with Optic Texas, and let's see how the boys were sounding in this one. Gonna turn it up right now. If this is where the hell is the listening in this? I thought it was over here. 3807. Yeah, I don't know where the Optic listening is. Maybe the timestamp is just wrong on this one. But there was an Optic listening somewhere in this one. But I don't know. The second P4 is where, again, this is just where Minnesota hold. And they get Optic pinned into that back spawn too. You could kind of see Optic now. This is where they get trapped and they get funneled. Dylan did a really good job staying alive here on this tank, and just kind of pushing them back. He's been fantastic, by the way.
No champs for attached, dude. Mind blown.
I know it's sad, bro. It's
He's
fucking sad.
He was gross at this game too.
Yeah, no, Dylan has been unbelievable this year, and he's also a free agent at the end of the year, so that's gonna be real interesting. I feel like we're gonna have a lot of moving pieces at the end of the year, man. You know, contracts have a lot to do with that, and if there's players,
I know
that are
where
on the
Dill
market,
should go.
where do you think he should go, Pat? If you were Dylan, where would you put him? Or where would you go?
If I'm Dill, I make a business decision and do one of my good friends dirty, and I replace Lamar on Seattle.
Place Lamar on Seattle?
Yeah.
So you would put Dylan as the main. You'd make him like a main type of thing.
Which I think he's been the best at. Yeah, at least statistically, I think that's when we see him fry the most is when he's on AR.
A lot of people want to see him on LAT. A lot of people in the chat when I had asked earlier, everybody was
I just don't know what that fix is for them. I wouldn't want that if I'm attached, because he'd be running a sub or a flex sub.
Well, when I asked them for who, I mean, they were saying Octane. I mean, I definitely would keep Dylan on an AR. I think he's just shining right now with the AR. So
I think Surge would elevate this team a lot if he went to Surge.
You think he would elevate Surge?
Yeah, because they would lose a little bit of leadership in Lamar,
yeah,
but dude, they would just gain like an absolute consistent person on the map that is, you know what you're gonna get every single map, and that's what Dylan's been this year, especially, is just insanely consistent, and I think that would really help them because they lack in consistency sometimes. If they had that person who was consistently playing that well, assuming Sid and Fred stay on the kind of path they are on. I think that would really make Surge
if something like that happened though, Pat.
Insane contender.
I think someone, if not everyone on the team, would have to step up from like a vocal perspective, because Lamar does bring that to a team. There's no denying that. He helps a lot with kind of the leadership aspect of teams, and I think people underrate that to a degree. It's very hard to find in people.
I actually disagree. I think people overrate that in these style of games. I would agree with you. We know exactly what Modern Warfare is going to be like, bro. We might be on 4v4, but we know it's going to be another tax sprint, just smash game.
But someone's just look, bro. Just because it's face smash, hold on, time out. Just because it's face smash, tax sprint, slide canceling, all that stuff. Like, people still got to be small talking in comms, making sure they're on the same pace. Doing shit together. You can't just be willy-nilly running around taking channels.
Not letting the game get ahead of you.
Hold on. We've heard their listenings though. It's not like that's all. Like, Lamar is not the only person doing it on our team. Most of his call-outs are gassing his teammates anyway. So I still think Dill could fit in well with that team. I think honestly they get better in search too. I know Lamar has been the Iceman, but I just think it would be an elevated move for Seattle if they did that, and it'd be a power move for them.
I would be mind blown. Dylan and Lamar are friends, bro. It would be insane to me.
Hey, money talks. Money talks.
Money does talk, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. We'll just have to wait and see what happens at the end of the year. There might be a lot of moving pieces at the end of the year. So some of these teams that you would try and fit Dylan into maybe teams now, but even like LATs, right? Say Dylan goes to LATs, the whole team around him might be completely different.
I wouldn't go to LAT. If I'm him, I think, like I said, I think there's better teams out there that he would fit on. LAG would be another one.
Like, he can go to LATs and they can build a whole different roster. They might.
But they're gonna keep Kenny. They're gonna keep Kenny.
They might keep one guy, like one or two guys.
I think they
keep
him
and Ken are a good AR duo if you think about it. You put Kenny, they're the two ARs. You figure out who's gonna run the sub sometimes.
Yeah, but dude, then I mean, you're just so slow. I think Dill's a slower player. I mean, we've talked about how I feel about Ken on AR. Envoy's a slower sub.
There's
that
not
would
enough good subs in the league.
Yeah, that would require another big move.
There's not enough good subs in the league, bro. You're really throwing darts
and that's super
dartboard and challenges for SMG players.
Super expensive move for LAT anyway. And LAG would be almost a complete rebuild. He'd go there with just Slasher and have to find subs. That's the problem is if I'm Dylan or if I'm any player, honestly, on a free agent contract, I'm going to a team that has good subs, period. Like,
Yeah.
because you cannot trust teams to get good subs with the limit of them and you know how many players are on contract. So yeah, I think you have to just go to a team that
So,
already has good subs. I think that should be a must for any free agent.
To that point, like obviously Minnesota season's over now. Couple of weeks until champs and champs. Dylan's probably going to be in a lot of people's text groups being like, yo, let's see him next season. Maybe Dylan coming with a package deal to a squad.
Shit, they probably already in his head at the
Yeah.
bar. They
Oh,
probably already talking to this guy.
100%. But I would say, like, you know, I would be surprised, I think, if Dylan's back on Minnesota next, all things considered.
Just to get into the map a little bit, we're tied up at 1. I thought Scump had a great round here. He just locks down this P5 area by himself, and it starts with this 2-piece here. He's able to get one guy, he able to pick, look to the top balcony here. He finds one, and then you can see number 3. That's going to be Havoc. He's going to try and get aggressive on him. You know Scump, he's going to hold those irons. He's going to get another one, and he ends up holding this P5, and he ends up getting a 3rd. So just a really good play coming out of Scump. They're able to go up to 2-1 in this one, and then in this round, this is a 2v4 that Minnesota almost clutched. It got a little scary. Optic were able to get a couple kills right off the rip, and somehow, some way, I don't know how Minnesota was able to do this. They get one guy on the bomb site, and then Scump, he's kind of all by himself here. He tries to dip out. It's a 2v2 situation, and it's Illy. Illy just makes a fantastic play. He's going to take the route. Nice shots onto Havoc. Boom, takes down P-Dog. And speaking of Illy, man, first of all, shout out Illy, man. Because this guy, he's been, bro, I feel like he's been one of their better players since he came back.
Since he got back, yeah.
Yeah, he's
for
been
sure.
one of their better. He's been making fucking plays. And he's shooting good. He's moving good. He just looks comfortable.
He's definitely been good.
Did he change? Did he get used to, like, holding the controller a different way? Because what weren't they talking about him holding the controller weird?
But he was clawing originally. I don't know if he still is.
Right, and I think Ender can get used to using a scuff or a beef. It just might take some time, you know. So it's hard to switch mid game. You know, I did it before when I had my hand injury. I went from clawing to playing regular mid season, and it was difficult because you claw your whole life, and you know it's muscle memory at that point. You just don't feel comfortable.
Listen, I gotta say something.
Yeah,
it's not gonna be liked by the chat. I know.
Uh-oh.
Illy's been good. I don't think he's their problem. Dashy's been great. I don't think he's their problem.
I know where this is going.
Oh,
Scump's been great. I don't think he's their problem. If Shotzzy keeps playing like this, and especially on LAN, I'm worried about this team, bro. I'm worried.
He has glimpses though. I mean, he
But,
went,
bro,
he won them that last map.
He's really the last, like, not even
But I'm
just
talking
on LAN.
Respawn. I don't even care about it.
Yeah, no, Respawn, he's been struggling a little bit for
Dude,
sure.
that is where they dominated, like control, hard point. Like he's this team's always gonna be good at search, not a worry. But Shotzi's been getting cooked, and that's a problem because he was, like we've said, he was the most efficient player early in the game. He was probably the best player at some point. He was just super consistent. But yeah, he's been a super letdown for me ever since they got Illy back, and I think that should be the number one thing to address if I'm in the Optic camp.
Yeah, he's been bad. It's not just
He's just
this
slowed
weekend.
down a little bit. He's trying to do too much.
Yeah.
That's his main problem. He's a fantastic player. He's just,
I mean, to Pat's point, like especially almost this entire major, he's been. Then we were talking about Alec yesterday. Like he's been struggling. So, but the thing for him, bro, about this at the end of the day is like, you know, they're still in this tournament, and Saturday, Sunday, like if he turns up, this team gets very dangerous if they're all clicking.
well, 100%. You never know what's gonna happen on a given day. And as we get into this this 7th round here, I just like the strat call from Optic. I don't know who called it, but I like having somebody lurk here. I like how they just kind of show a lot of presence B. And then once they show all their presence, this is when Illy makes his move. You could kind of see him focusing up, right? Once Optics start pushing through B, then he's going to make his move, and he's going to catch somebody slipping. That's going to be Colt Havoc. So catching him on an island. Then he's going to wrap all the way back, get right back to his team. And they're able to get one as well. Just
Unironically, this is the Minnesota Priest that does the same exact thing when they go to that site.
Hey, you know who started that lurking shit too? Not started, people lurk, but I felt like Major Maniac did it a lot with Minnesota when he was on the team. He was always that one guy sitting on an island.
Playing island, yeah.
Yeah, just playing on a little bit of an island there. But Minnesota, they're able to bring it back a little bit. They end up winning a couple rounds and bringing this to a 4-5. And this one was interesting, man. This was a 2-piece grenade from Shotzzy. And I don't even know if they coordinated nades here, if he just kind of horked the grenade. But you could see Havoc and the Minnesota guys. It's going to be Havoc and Standy. They're going to coordinate some grenades here. And they're going to take out Shotzi. And then Shotzi horks a grenade, and he takes down both of them. He takes down Standy and Havoc, because this could have went to a round
Were
11.
they weak?
I don't know. That's why I'm like, did they coordinate
They must have had
nades?
Ninja. I don't think anyone else threw it. Well, the only other person that I think could have thrown a nade there was number 5. If you look at him in the window beforehand.
Yeah, I think number 5 might.
Look at number 5. You see how he's kind of like
maybe he
lined
did
up.
Maybe he
He
did
might
throw
have.
one. I think maybe he did. Dashy might have horked the grenade over there.
Yeah, he probably did, because look, you can see his angle. He's looking at nothing right now. He's probably throwing a nade through the window.
The chat saying Dashy threw.
Yeah,
one.
yeah, Dashy
Okay.
and Shotzi both threw them.
All right, that makes sense. So just really good job then from Optic Texas to coordinate nades there and to pick up 2 kills, because that pretty much solidified the round for them. Illy got the information. He ended up backing off here, and I just like how Optic group up and they play as a unit, right? They just roam the map together. Minnesota, they end up going to the B point, and Optic, they just use their numbers, and they're able to funnel Minnesota out. So just a really good S&D from Optic. They're able to clutch this one up and tie the series up at 1. Take a look at the final scoreboard. It was fucking illy, right? 9-5, Shotzi 9-7. Everybody pulling weight on Optic, and then on the other side, everybody negative except for Havoc. So just not a good map for the Minnesota guys. They started to bring it back a little bit, but it was too late. Any final thoughts on the S&D, gentlemen, as we head into the
Just a really good S&D out of Optic. Optic's always been pretty damn strong at Tuscan, so I had a feeling that was going to be a very back and forth S&D in general, but Optic end up bringing it back and tying the series.
I know
what y'all-
Optic's not strong on, and that's control.
That's control.
Their control has been
They're almost as bad as London, bro. They're almost as bad as London.
bad. And this is a perfect example. Like at the end of this round, right here, I feel like they need to hit some go buttons, man. Look, they make their play. I like how they group up. They play through church, and they end up getting some kills here. Boom, 2 dead, bro. You have to go. Like, you have to go. Bro, somebody jump out. 2 guys hit play. Like, they're all there. You got a guy P5. Wait for each other, group up, and hit this shit. They end up just kind of like, they stay stagnant. They don't make plays. They just kind of hold. Then Dashy just runs out with his pants down. He gets 1. Now they decide to go, but now they're back now. Minnesota's already back in the play. It's a game of seconds. As soon as you get 2 dead, instantly somebody's become 2 dead. Go. You know what I'm saying? Like make a play now. Like, you did the hard part. Now just use your numbers and be decisive.
There's a big problem, and this is just something that I think a lot of COD players struggle with, and this is something that I used to struggle with back in the day. Is ideally you always want to take scenarios that are in your favor, man advantage, but that is never always going to be the case. Sometimes you have to take the 2v2. Sometimes you have to take the 1v1. You can't always wait for your teammates when it comes to executing a play.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that right there you see a prime example of Optic not doing. They want to wait for their teammates to get, a full man push, but they have an opening that they created. They just got to take the risk and trust themselves to win the 2v2 or the 1v1, etc. So that's just a struggle that I think a lot of COD players tend to struggle with, and that's usually what creates the slow aspect. Oh, this guy's slow. It's because he's never the one to square up and take the 1v1, or he's always going to be the guy waiting.
And then also, like, I know Optic's been bad at control, but I mean, it was also all defensive wins. Nobody got onto the B site. I mean, it's just also just another typical Tuscan control. I mean, when you play really good teams, they're really good at locking down their defenses. Like, I definitely think defense is the better side. I don't know what the stats are on it, but Minnesota going into this defense, I was pretty confident this was just going to be a map win for him. I mean,
I think this was around the 72% defense win percentage.
Right, which is fucking high as shit. Like
Yeah.
that's
Defense
fucking crazy.
W, insta W map.
So it was just 5 defensive wins in a row. Like, this map was fucking ass. Like, it was just, you could just tell, like, even when people get kills and they try and make plays, it's difficult, man. Like, it's very, very hard to actually get onto that B point. The only time people actually cap the B point is if they just get a clean wipe and they're just right there. And they like, everything just needs to go right for them, and they need to win every fight.
Yeah, because they're spawning so close to the fucking point while the other team spawns across the map.
Yeah, and just look at how Minnesota locked this down. I mean, this whole round, Optic didn't even get to this point. And this is another thing that I was talking about. I see a lot of pro teams, well, obviously pro teams, even some of the challenger teams are doing it, but they always play around the back. And I think you always need to have somebody like that's last in line, maybe wrapping back towards P5. And somebody needs to come from front, because the problem is that I see a lot of shit happening is they'll go around the back, they'll get the kills, but then the guy who's pushed out P5 just comes in from behind and just takes him out, So you either have to regroup front and do something front, work the kills like church in front and come down ramp, come down at a green and hit plat and kind of just flood in through the front side of it. Or if you're going to send people around the back, you need people slow playing front.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if you're just going to flood the back, well, even if you get kills, you're going to have somebody on the other team who's going to be pushed out because they're not there.
People will just flip sides on you. They'll be like, okay, you're going to take our spawn, we're going to take yours. And then you put yourself in a position where, like, even if you do get a kill, you spawn that player that you just got that kill on pinching you. Like, he basically spawns behind you again. So now you have to worry about not only taking control of the point, because they took control of your side, but you have to worry about the guy that just spawned up and is either going to make a play and wrap back for you guys, or he's going to like push through and then re-wrap towards his teammates on the front side.
Yep. And then this was the best opportunity for Optic. They like I said, look how they play it. They play through front and they play through church. And then they're able to get a clean 3 dead and stack onto this point, but somehow Minnesota was able to nade him out. And clutch this one up. Just all the tags come in, right? 2 grenade kills come in, then Priest slides in and gets a kill and scumps the last one up. So things can look good for a second, and then 2 seconds later, it all collapses. Unfortunately, they just weren't able to dodge the tags, and Minnesota were able to clutch up. Optic have one more push at this. This is a really good corner, by the way. This corner that Havoc plays, I see a lot of people starting to play that now. I feel like that's a really good spot because when people come around there, they have to pre-aim the staircase. Like, they have to look at the stairs because people play the stairs a lot. And obviously, that's just a free kill for Havoc. He knows that people are going to be L-triggering the stairs coming around that corner, and he's going to pick up some freebies. So, good corner coming out of Colt Havoc. We'll take a look at the final scoreboard. 37-25 from P-Dog. Ben, I know you were talking about P-Dog a little bit. I feel like Priest has really been stepping it up. He stepped it up towards the later half of the year, for sure.
Been better ever since
after
they
the
got
role
Havoc.
change, definitely, he started playing better, but too little,
You
a bit too late.
cut out for like 2 seconds. Say that again.
Bro, I have mic issues. I don't understand, but yeah, no, Preston. I think it's played better since the role change, Tom. On the Dylan side, which has helped. My last point on this map, though, for Optic, as good as I think they played in Search in this series, which is nice to see, it's a little bit of a warning sign that they still can't figure out control. They need to start winning some control matches, especially if they're playing some better teams.
That's a massive warning sign. That was their best game mode, and we've seen it in this game
hard,
period.
I agree.
How important control is in a series. Like London's a good example. Like they're going down in a series 0-1. Like if that starts to be the case for Optic, like I'm super worried. They've just gotten so bad at offense and control. That's really all it's come down to.
This isn't going to be a thing because obviously Rokkr's year is over, but like I still can't believe they picked Bokic and gave them a chance to win a hard point on a team that's notorious for literally going map 5 like every single time.
I was wrong. Rokkr was 8-1 in their last Bokic hard points, and they allowed them to play that. Bro, just think about that. If Optic would have lost this series, like we went game 5, they clutched up. If they would have lost the series, bro, to me, 100% of the 100% of the blame would have been on the fact that they allowed that in.
Like if any other map was in there, they probably lose it, and this is like a 3-1 series.
Okay, somebody in the chat just said talk about FaZe's hardpoint, this and that. Maybe because we're cooking Optic's hardpoint. We have been cooking the fuck out of FaZe's hardpoint. I mean, we said it yesterday. Their hardpoint has been mediocre.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you're talking about.
That's got to be the most insecure fan I've ever heard.
We've been cooking
in my life.
We've been cooking.
You're roasting my team in hardpoint. Roast FaZe in hardpoint too.
Yeah,
like that is the fucking NPC fucking Twitch chat reply I've ever seen.
He puts in the chat, talk about FaZe's hardpoint. I'm like, dude, like it's not any better.
We're not even watching FaZe right now, and you want us to talk about them.
It's like it's not any better. And right here, this is where Optics start to kick up in the second rotation. But this was a really good break from Minnesota going into this P5. I thought the setup here was just a little weak from Optic. I just think somebody here needs to be looking over Illy. Like, even if Shotzi has a sub in Hill, just throw some shimmies and kind of stay down and just kind of distract him a little bit and get some information. Because Havoc just jumps down off boat for free and just gets a free kill. Then he just slides onto the hill, pops a 2-piece, and just like that, Minnesota break onto the P5. So maybe a little bit of a misplay in their setup there, but as we head into the second rotation, this is just where Optic just kick up into a whole nother gear. They're able to chain these 2 hills. Scump is always just popping off in this hill. I don't know what it is. Every time he's in this middle circle here on P1, he just always finds a way to stay alive and be a nuisance. So I think he was a big component here in this hill. So they were able to get there early, lock it down. It got a little mixy at times. Minnesota was able to contest for a few seconds here or there, but this is kind of where Optic started to bring it back a little bit. And then as we get into the P2 hill, you can kind of see how Optic, they start to rotate and get there pretty early. It was actually Shotzi who was pushing out that cut. and just making sure nobody from Minnesota can get to that boat early. Big one-on-one from Scump, and just a really big chain here for Optic. This is kind of where they started to take the lead. Even right here, right? This is a perfect example of Shotzzy trying to do too much. Just chill. 37 seconds left. You know the guy's here. You just saw him. He's right here. Boom. All you need to do is chill in the hard point, play a corner, make the play come to you. He ends up just sliding out and dying. Just like little stuff like that, right? Like play your corners, maybe throw a shimmy, like try and play your life a little bit more. Sometimes I feel like he goes a little bit too rogue and he tries to do too much. And then also at the same time, I know we're critiquing Shotzi's hardpoint, but he also is the main submachine gun player on Gavitu. And he also has a very tough role on this team. So I definitely think, I personally think Shotzi's been struggling hardpoint, but it's not easy to do what he's doing, especially on Gav hardpoint with a sub. And he ends up winning the game here for them. So this is what Shotzi ends up doing. Ignore the stat line. He's 11-18. Sure, who gives a fuck? But he makes the game-winning play. Shotzi, he ends up pushing off this old P2. He ends up sneaking through attach, and just look at the play he makes. He finds a gap in the Minnesota setup. And once he gets his kill in the back, that's it. That pretty much solidifies his hill. He kills the guy in the back. Minnesota had a guy pushing old. The spawns ended up flipping out, and Optic, they're able to get onto this hard point and lock down majority of this time. And it also comes down to Ender, right? Illy just was going
Ender went so many
massive.
ones in
Dude,
the hill
he
here.
just looks good. He just looks good as fuck. I feel like Ender's he looks smooth.
This specific hill is Ender's best hill in the game. I swear to God, since the beginning of the year, this guy's make pieces on this hill. Any situation.
Even when the hill ends, take a look at that mini map. Look, he comes off old here, and he ends up gunning the guy top ring as well. So he ends up ending that hill on a 5 spree. And then obviously Minnesota, they rotate to this P4. They start to bring it back a little bit. Optic are trying to work some kills to the front, and they get in there. This is kind of where Optic kind of push them back here. They do a good job pushing scrap time and kind of pinning Minnesota into that spawn trap. And then Optic, as we get into the last P5, this is kind of where they were able to hold and clutch up and set up. Minnesota actually do get in there, but Optic do a good job breaking through mid. I like how they break this too. They don't panic. They don't just start running at hill. They just group up middle, and they just make a play and kind of single players out. And they take routes instead of just kind of. You always see, how many times do you see somebody on the head glitch in the hill just watching this back alley, and they're just flooding this fucking back alley right here over and over and over and over. And
I mean, that's.
No, I was just saying, teams like they get into that mindset where they're honestly blacking out. Like they're not taking the routes, and look at how Optic play this. Instead of just flooding that fucking that alley over and over and over again, they just play through mid. They're like, fuck that shit.
Yeah.
Just play
Well,
through mid.
that's the benefit that they had, Tom, when they retained ring control off the rotation and stuff like that. Like they retained a spread setup where if for example, Minnesota were able to break in through the front, which they did, they still had plenty of map control and options that they could take multiple angles of approach to re-break, etc.
Mhm.
Like it's if they would have just gave up a ring and then got like broken and pinned, they would have been fucked. Like they just played that really well, that whole rotation.
Listen, I know they only need 2 points to win, but Minnesota with a good hold can win it as well. So staying composed and making sure you're taking the right routes is really important. So I just thought that was a good play from Optic there to just take their time and make sure that they're focusing on singling out players in the middle of the map rather than just flooding through that fucking alley and just getting mowed down and giving the other team streaks, and they end up getting chained on and fucking lose, which we've seen multiple times. So just good plays from Optic. Go ahead, Pat.
No, I was just saying I don't think FaZe would have done that. Like, basically exactly what you summarized.
Wait, Pat, what the fuck is your picture, bro? What the fuck?
It's that guy in the chat. It's that guy in the chat. I wanted to make sure.
And then we'll take a look at the scoreboard. Just everybody from Optic, besides for Shotzi, right? He's the only one negative, but I do think Shotzi was making winning plays and taking game-winning routes. I thought he was getting to places early. He's being a nuisance. Sometimes what you see on the stat sheet doesn't always replicate the plays that are being made during the match. But let's get into the map number 5. Any final thoughts, guys, on the fourth hard point or on Optic? Anything at all as we head into this one?
No.
Cool. I'm guessing that's a no.
I was just trying to think of something to say.
Nah,
my
bro,
brain
if
is
you guys have
farting. It's a
nothing to
long
say,
day.
just say, "La, we're good." Keep it
I think this map. I don't know if I think it was Merc tweeted this, bro. This map honestly came down to the third round. Minnesota went up 2-0, and Optic clutched up mega big to not go down 0-3, and then sort of grabbed the momentum from there. But go ahead.
Yeah, well, the first round, Havoc just comes out beaming. He's able to go massive. He's all smiles after that one as well. And then as we get into the second round, he does it again, man. He ends up clutching up. You can see Optic, they're kind of slow playing their offense a little bit. They're not really too sure what to do. They're trying to get some information, maybe try and work some picks. And then as
the
times,
Afro corner.
and then this fucking stupid fucking corner, bro. Like, and he half checks it. Shotzzy half checked it. He like checked it, but didn't think anybody was gonna be there, which is weird because I don't even need to open the door. I'm just gonna start spraying through the fucking door. You know what I'm saying? To check that corner, because I'm so sick and tired of people getting kills in that shitty ass fucking spot. That spot is literally terrible. So he somehow Havoc is able to get one. And play his life, and then you can see Optic. They start to rotate the bomb over. Dashie's able to find one, make it a 2v2 situation. And this one, Havoc, he was just able to make some plays. He ends up finding one. Good plays out of Colt Havoc here, and then you can see Bruce. He's gonna.
Where is Dashy going?
I don't know.
Dude?
He was. I don't know.
What the?
He kind of left his teammate
That
out
was
to dry.
rotating.
I'm playing the bomb. Watch over me.
Yeah.
What?
He kind of left his teammate out to die a little bit. I'm not really too sure.
He
where
was
Brucey
playing for the
going.
clutch, bro.
Yeah,
He's playing for the clutch.
He's playing for the clutch a little bit. And he almost clutched it. I mean, he's able to find one. He gets to this wall here, and he's able to pick Priesta. But Havoc, obviously, Dashie has to check the bomb. Havoc wins another one-on-one. And then the fuck you Havoc chants started happening.
There was fuck you Havoc.
Yeah,
chances?
the crowd kept.
So
The
that's
crowd,
an New York crowd right there,
the
man.
crowd kept chanting "fuck you, Standy," and then they hopped. Then Havoc started getting up, getting hyped, and then they started chanting "fuck you, Havoc," and then.
Yo, Tom, if they were chanting "fuck you, Tommy," bro, you might go for 50.
I might go. Hey,
Wait,
you-
Tommy,
hey,
on the fuck you Sandy
You already
part, someone
know.
linked this tweet to me. This tweet was from March 5th of 2017
Okay.
from Dashie, and the tweet was Stanny might as well change his name to Illy Jr.
How's that? Why is that?
Nah,
funny?
there's just some funny old school beef in this matchup with Sandy and the Optic guys. I don't know if the crowd knew it, but it's
Bro, half-
funny.
Over half the fans weren't even here in 2017. You expected to know that tweet existed?
Someone looked at that tweet to me and I was mind blown. But
Now this is an interesting round. This is where Priesta almost 1v3'd, and I think this is kind of where the momentum flipped a little bit. So you can kind of see Minnesota. They get that bomb down. Everybody goes down. Last one up's gonna be P-Dog. I can't believe he almost clutched this.
yeah,
He's able to get one here on the pinch. He's going to make a play towards the bomb. I like how he kind of jukes back here. He kind of breaks Dashie's ankles there a little bit. He's going to go around, find another kill onto Bruce. And I'm actually really surprised that Scump checked this corner here. This is a really, really good corner check from Scump to just kind of sniff him out and to win that 1v1. So just good heads-up play coming out of Scump. He's able to win that round. And then we get into the next round. And this is the momentum switch right here. This is where Shotzzy, 2v4 situation. Havoc and Standy, they end up getting back-to-back nade kills to start off the round. And just look at the plays from Shotzzy. He's going to somehow finesse to the middle of the map. He's going to get
At
behind him.
0-3 too.
Yeah, he's 0-3 right now, and then he just goes rogue. He ends up just making moves. He ends up getting two, makes it a 2v2 situation, just dipping and diving. Then they break some ankles here. He's able to get this B bomb down. You can kind of see Dashie. He's kind of playing mid-bottom tunnel there. It looked like they were standing on top of each other on the mini-map, but Dashie's bottom tunnel, and then Attach, he's up top. And then Shotzzy, he just plays this really well. He checks the bomb. Notice nobody's on it, goes back, and just wins another one-on-one because Dashie ends up going down. Now Shotzzy's left in a one-on-one situation. He's all by himself, and with 17 seconds left on the clock, he's going to throw a stun. He's going to realize nobody's on it, so good tactical usage there, and then he's just going to use that time to his advantage, throw the tax, and Shotzzy, he's going to slide cancel this head glitch, and he's going to pick up the ace. So just really, really good plays coming out of Shotzzy. And then as we head into the next round, a little bit of a ninja diffuse comes in. This was a 2v2 situation. Ben, you did not like this setup from Minnesota at all. You were kind of
no,
bitching
I
about
lost
this.
full when I saw it instantly after they planted this bomb.
Yeah, they didn't really have eyes, and I think Optic just did a really good heads-up play here. I liked it. First of all, this game fucking sucks. Look at this shit, bro. This guy Scump is headbutting the wall, bro. This guy Scump is literally headbutting this shit, tactical sprinting into this bitch, and it's just not breaking. So he says, you know what, fuck this. I'm out. This game literally doesn't work. He's going to go around, and I just like the way Optic plays this, man. They end up sniffing out Standy here, coming in on the pinch. Standy goes in for the bomb checks, and they hop it right away. Scump doesn't even hesitate. As soon as they get the kill, he's already on the bomb. Dylan doesn't even have time to get there. And just like that, Optic, they're able to get the ninja diffuse in, so you can kind of see how Optic just starts to roll away with this one. And then off that momentum, what does Optic do? They rush plant. fantastic play call. Don't know who made the play call, but I love when you have momentum, teams start to get aggressive. And I just like the play call from Optic. I thought after the first 2 rounds, and after a couple clutches and tying it up, that I think the momentum switched, and Optic they just
What were
looked
they?
really good.
What was number 1 watching before that? Hold on, go back.
Yep, number 1 was inside. He was like,
what, bro? They're
know.
not even looking at A,
he's
dude.
not. He's just playing back.
Like,
He's just
what
playing
the
back.
fuck are you like? Not even just him. Just like, what is
Everybody.
this setup, dog?
The setup was ass, and then they go for the. And then they go.
Don't
Then they go
just give
for
up the bomb. Like, hello.
Then they go for the ninja defuse, which, like, if he would have hopped it right away, maybe would have been able to get it. But they end up shooting him off of it. So just good plays coming out early. He finds a big 2-piece. But I just like the play call. Optic, they have the momentum, and they say, you know what, fuck this, just go rush plant the bomb, just kind of put the nail in the coffin. And they go up 2-4.
You think that was a play call out of Rokkr? What they did?
Bro,
Like,
I don't
that
know.
was a
People-
strat.
I sure
People
fucking hope
try
not.
way too hard to be different, like in Search and Destroy, and be like, yeah, dude, this like strat's just gonna be like, oh, it's played to counter off this. Like, bro, just look at it's fucking S&D. Watch the bombs
And it's
and don't
okay,
let them
S&D.
plant
Yeah.
and kill them.
And then
Like,
that
it's
was
not.
their-
It's not fucking. It's not rocket science, man.
Yeah,
That was
and
their
then,
lick walls play call.
then
Yo,
they go
everybody
back
lick walls,
on.
everybody lick walls.
They go back on the defense, and Dashy, he just mows them down, gets a couple nice beams. Able to get 2 kills that round. Optic only need 1 more. And as they go back on to the offense, they pretty much just break down Minnesota's setup and take the series. So, gentlemen, any final thoughts on this one? I thought Optic were, they got icy, man. They adapted. The fuck you Havoc chants started coming out, and these guys just turned into a different breed. And personally, I think it started from the 2v4. Which
So Tom,
Yes.
I wanna. This is my final thoughts on the series. Last year, Minnesota was 28-41 in hardpoint. This year, they were 20-27. I think this team is gonna probably look completely different next year. They also struggled in hardpoint at the end of year 1 of CDL as well. I think a huge priority. They've had good S&D teams, but the respawn hasn't been there for them the last couple of years. That should be
I
a
don't
key
think
focus for them in
S&D
the
was
offseason.
really there this year either.
No, it wasn't.
It was early, but like overall, I wouldn't say it was.
They're technically the 4th best S&D team in the game by map count.
Yeah, but that's what I said. I think they were early in the game,
Yeah.
but this roster hasn't been anything special.
Yeah. I think Bar is, at least on the Optic side, bar that the blunder with the vetoes and just not giving Minnesota the respect for an obscene record towards the later half of the season. They played 2 really good S&Ds. Their control still worries us, as we've talked about before, but their S&D back with Ender looks really
does.
clean.
It's a good
really
sign.
clean.
Yeah, it's good. That's one thing you want good, right? Is the
Yeah,
S&D.
it just means if they're able to, like, even if their respawn like struggles for the rest of the tournament, if they're able to like clutch up some maps, like I'm comfortable with them like going into Search and Destroys and being like, okay, I have faith in them to cleanly win these and keep the extend series. But in terms of just like their dominance factor, because we always want to see Optic be a dominant team, especially if you're a fan of them. Their respawn still kind of worries me.
But Chris,
What?
we got FaZe coming up, and boy, did they put on a show for us in this
Finally,
one.
a 3-0.
Yeah, we
We've had so
got,
many 3-2s this whole
Yeah,
weekend.
Don't want to talk about FaZe.
we needed this. We needed
Nah,
a
we
3-0.
Wait. Yesterday, wasn't it all game 5s besides the Thieves versus FaZe match?
Yep.
And now
Yeah.
today it's all games 5s versus and then the last series is another 3-0.
Yep.
What the
Yeah.
fuck is happening?
Isn't that crazy? It's
all
fucking
game
crazy,
5s
yeah.
and then a 3-0, all game 5s and then a 3-0 2 days in a row.
But let's get into it. We don't need to really go through map by map. This was pretty much a slaughter, to be honest with you. FaZe got through the series quick, man. We started off with a Bocage Hardpoint, Berlin S&D, Tuscan Control, Tuscan Hardpoint, Tuscan Search and Destroy. You think LAG fucked up vetoes a little bit on this one, or what, Pat?
No,
Or Ben, go ahead.
I don't really think they did. I mean, they had to get rid of Gav. FaZe really got to Gav. I think the videos were straight up. I just think, bro, this is just LAG's living and dying by the Tuscan, man. Bocage was a mixed fest, but for LAG, man, this is the inconsistent side of LAG, especially from the sub players.
This is an inconsistency. They're just outclassed.
just
Like,
think-
this is
hold
literally
on,
a pure
hold on.
outclass.
They had this matchup, and they had a very similar map set online, and Slasher had that like 1.5 series, like that
For them,
absolute
yep.
takeover series. That everyone was high on LAG beating FaZe, and it was like, dude, if he doesn't do that, this series wouldn't even be close. And I think we see the opposite side, right? Where when someone isn't having a takeover series and it's just LAG versus FaZe, like a pure square up, like a talent versus talent team, like Chris said, they're outclassed. Like it would require, one of these players on LAG to have a takeover series for them to be in this, and they just
like Hook did when they won the tournament and beat this team. Like
I don't want to get too crazy on it. We can go down this path if you guys want to debate it. Like we have to talk about the fact this is such a bizarre situation for the LEG that they were genuinely like good for maybe 2 weekends of Call of Duty this year. They won an event and got to tip that event win because they set a record for most SNE wins in a row. They played really good Call of Duty over the course of that tournament. And then outside of that, it's been mediocre. And they managed to not qualify for champs. That's crazy.
2 weekends. They had 1 weekend, and
no, they had at least one good weekend online. But in terms of actual land,
I'm not talking about like just a few matches in there because that's strength of schedule. There's a lot that goes into that. They were terrible all year, and they had that 1 weekend, which I mean, we can tip it all we want, but in reality, that was an absolute miracle. Something we'll never see again.
It was
clutching
1 weekend,
up that much,
with a completely different roster, mind you.
And using a gun that no one had used at all in the game. That was basically like a day one. Like imagine they just hopped on. Like that's basically what that tournament was in terms of like people using a brand new gun and environment, making teams use different guns. Like
I feel like you guys.
To me, this team just sucked.
You guys keep saying that though. It's 1 weekend. It's 1 weekend. Yeah, man. I mean that's COD. All these tournaments come.
There was way more variables though for that weekend than the other.
I'm just saying, like Pat, talk about the World War II when you guys won champs, right?
But we didn't introduce a new gun to the meta.
A new meta. They weren't doing anything. They weren't doing anything. Like they weren't like what is it called? Innovating at the tournament and bringing out something that was like brand new.
And we also won the event through winners. Like we won every match that we had in front of us. There was nothing we could do differently. They started in losers and just clutched up game 5, game 5, game 5, game 5.
Guys, I'll make it more
I was just keeping it more general to the point.
Tom, I'm gonna make it.
Ben, hold on. I'm
gonna make this clear. Okay.
But I'm just saying, Pat. You keep saying 1 weekend. That's what you keep saying, and that's all it is. Like just like your EG team, 1 weekend, you guys played good.
But we played good at Seattle 2 months before, and it was the same thing. We got second, we lost the grand final.
No, guys, I'm gonna make it very simple. You can count on one hand the number of good weekends LG has had as a franchise in the last 3 years. Am I wrong in saying that?
No,
I would say that was the only weekend. What do you mean? Bro, this org has never qualified for champs. They've been 9 through 12 in every single series or season of the CDL. Like in reality, if we're being honest, like they're a better franchise than Paris, but in terms of results, like they might as well be in the same category as Paris. They are the only 2 teams that have finished 9 through 12 in every single season of the CDL. Every single one.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at it from a perspective of they've been like bottom of the barrel. You know what I'm saying?
Every year.
They have outside this year, Tom. I mean, bro, year one.
No, every year. This year too. How have they not been this year? They finished 9 through 12.
Let's walk out through all 3 years. I mean, year one, they were super uncompetitive. Last year they had like that one really good win on the first part of the season. And they were poor the whole year. They had picked up that old roster and it didn't work out for them. And then this year was supposed to be the year, right? They got Kyler over. They really plus up the talent. And yeah, they had that one good event win, but outside of that, it's been poor. As a franchise, there's going to be a real deep inquest, I think. It's super bizarre situation. Them winning an event, not qualifying for champs. They need a bit of a rethink on their strategy here because it's mind-blowing to me, man.
I mean, LEG also dropped their most selfless player. And I hate talking about it because every time I fucking say something positive about this guy, it's like I can't say anything good about it.
It's not just that. They've made horrible roster moves through and through.
Yep.
Like from the beginning, they've made horrible roster moves.
I agree with that 100%.
So it's not like I can't even say like because I agree. I don't think they should have dropped ASIM, but it's like I wouldn't solo that out. Like they've made horrible moves from the get go. Yeah, I would say after they had me, obviously, then they made horrible moves after they got rid of me. That's just what happens when you get rid of me. It's just downfall.
I mean, Pat, I don't know why they get rid of you, Pat. Listen, bro. Listen, regardless of the stats, man, the different intangibles you bring. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. That spot needs to go, bro. Yo, hold on. Yo, pause the damn game.
We were better than that team that they had year one.
Why are people still playing this spot?
I don't know. Why do people even fucking?
Why do people lay down on that sidewalk
you know
and
what,
look at
Bengals, during the watch
nothing.
party? Oh, it's a good spot right here. It's a good spot.
That is
I
not
said,
a
bro,
good
that spot is
spot.
literally ass.
All
and then
you do
5
is you
seconds
jiggle
later,
the corner, you see nobody there, look down. Oh my god, free
bro,
kill,
people
bro.
have been playing that
What?
bro, people have been playing that spot since day one. It's always checked.
That shit works. That shit works once in a lifetime.
Literally giving him a free first blood.
That shit works once in a lifetime, and ironically, it was his teammate Hook that used it way back when. It will never work again, ever.
Yeah, no.
Stop playing it.
Not. Now, FaZe look good in the S&D too. They've been doing their thing in search. I feel like their S&Ds, they're hitting form. You know, like they seem comfortable and they seem confident. And I know they live and die by Abeezy. Abeezy's been living. This guy's been fucking popping off. This guy's been popping really good first bloods. He's getting aggro, getting aggressive, and he's a nuisance. He doesn't stand still. This guy's fucking cracked.
Thing is, though, we need to see it against like the teams that are like heating up in the tournament. I want to say against the top teams, bro. Like every time I have a conversation like this, but like, bro, who even is a top team anymore? Every team places first or last back to back. I want to see him play at that level late in the tournament. Like is more like it in a grand final if they make it there again. Like he hasn't had those series later in the like late in the half of the tournament. He's always having them early.
No, you're not wrong. You're definitely not wrong. In terms of LAG, where do you guys see these guys going? I mean, with the roster.
I was just thinking about this. So we know how we talk about how everyone who goes to the Paris camp is basically retired out of the CDL at least, right? Like it's almost the same for LAG. Every player that's been through that org in the CDL is no longer competing. Like when you look at their year one. No one from year one is on their team.
Still around, brother.
Okay, sorry, Reese. So it's the same thing with Kismet. So Reese is one. Everyone from last year is gone. Like Assault.
Who's your team last year? I can't remember.
Assault, Silly, Cheen.
That was a team that should have never formed to begin with. Tom and I absolutely cooked their decision the first time we heard about it on the show.
Ben and I
So that's what I was kind of bringing up. And I mean, you want to talk about like LAG in general. I mean, I think it's like a top-down thing, right? Like
that's where I was about to go, Pat. You read my mind.
Yeah, the teams are being put together by the organization, right? Staff, coaches, they have an analyst, right? They're invested. But when you talk about a team that's that invested, that we know they are, right? They're paying good salaries. They're offering, housing, location. They're doing that. They have a lot of support. They have coaches, analysts, all that. But they're getting the same results as Paris. Like, at some point you really need to look into like why that is and what's going on. And yeah, I think to Ben's point,
I hate to say this, but someone's going to be held accountable to this LAG situation, and I'm very curious to see what they do because they have the money to be able to spend to build competitive teams. And yes, again, we'll keep saying it. They did win.
Somebody's gonna be held accountable. You think somebody's gonna lose their job or some shit?
Tom, I mean,
in real sports, that works.
People writing the checks for this team, man. Like, you guys have won one event in 3 years, and outside of that, it's not good.
You're talking about the changes that they made. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, you look at the whole package of 3 years, it's not great.
And the changes that they make come from the team half the time. They come from the players. It comes from the fucking players.
Right, but they've
fired players at that point.
But they've squad wiped every year, Tom.
Yeah, they don't know how to build. Bro, half these franchise teams don't know how to fucking build.
That's the point Pat and I trying to make, though.
Yeah, I know.
If you're going to squad wipe, why are you putting together a roster that makes no sense?
Wait, but the thing is,
I'm just saying, Ben said you need to hold somebody accountable.
Their initial team, their initial team with like Slasher, Gunless, ASIM, and Hook. Once again, I'll say this again. When the league formed, I looked at these teams. I'm like, wow, these teams on like a good COD. Like this looks like a competitive fucking season. And then some of these teams with like these well put together rosters, which in my opinion have like bro, I look at the roster of Hook, ASIM. Like we saw Hook at the beginning of Cold War on Empire have like disgusting moments. Gunless was also pretty good at that game. ASIM was good at that game, and Slasher has moments too. I feel like that team on like a normal Call of Duty could have been good. They never realized their potential because they're playing a game like this where it's just mixy as fuck.
But I'm not gonna blame the game because it's happened every year. But I do want to say, and I'm not gonna quote any of the players, but Ben, more to your point, I know the players aren't calling the shots in that organization, and I think that might be the problem. Just putting that out there, because we talk about how every other org, like in reality, players, for the most part, they call the shots, right? Like we've always seen that. That's kind of just how Call of Duty's naturally always been. But I don't think that's happening in that camp. So it's something to kind of keep in mind in comparison.
I agree, Pat.
Man, I talked to Asim. I didn't even know that. I talked to Asim all the time. I had no idea.
Well, shit, if he was calling the shots, he would be bitched.
I mean, I just feel like the players. It's the players. The players are the ones who want to make the change. The players are the one who's talking.
But
now
when they've
Hook and Neptune were playing 8s with each other. They were playing 8s with each other and shit beforehand. They ended up picking up Neptune. You know, like there was so many guys they could have picked up. They picked up Neptune.
But Tom,
I personally like Neptune. I'm just saying. You know what I'm
Tom, here's the thing. I still think the decision they made in the second year of CDL, like after you learn your lesson for the first year, was inexcusable. That rest of it. I'm still not over how they went down. They just tossed away an entire year.
Are you talking about
the team they built for last
EG
year for
team
Cold War?
Who did they have? They had what, Vivid instead of me, right? It was basically my AG team with Vivid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that team just didn't make sense on that game at all.
This guy says ZooMaa's been on pretty good orgs, brother. I was on Denial. That's where I came up.
You saw
bro, they owe me money, brother. They owe me cash.
Yeah.
They owe me money, man. You know what I'm saying?
Whoa, hold on, chat. Don't let Tommy fool you. Tommy had an offer to leave Denial and come to FaZe, but wanted to stay. Don't let him fool you. Don't let him fool you.
Wasn't it EG? Wait, were you on FaZe at the time?
Yeah, I was on FaZe. That was AW. Actually, it was both. Technically, it was both. If you wanted to go back to Ghost, both were true. But in AW, remember you wanted to play with Nato. Fuck, what was that roster?
Crowder. I didn't want to leave Crowder.
I thought it was Nato. I could be tripping, bro. It was a long time ago.
And Nato. Both of them, Crowder and Nato, and the whole team. I just liked my team.
Yeah, no, I know. But that was when you were on Denial.
No, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, every offseason, my phone just wouldn't stop ringing. You know what I'm saying? So it makes sense. You know, it's nothing new. Just another day, another decline. It is what it is. Sometimes it's business. I can only choose one. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. You know, Pat?
No, for sure.
Listen, I said we take a look at the standings. The control was a fucking bloodbath. If y'all want to go watch them get shit on, you can go watch them get shit on.
That was a speed control.
The whole series was a speed control, and FaZe was just, looking at stat wise. I mean, everyone at LAG got smoked, and everyone on FaZe just had a blast, except for Abizi. But I think that was one of those series where like it didn't matter if he had a 0 and 50 KD, like they were gonna win.
It was another good series for Alec, bro. Like if he continues this momentum, man.
Bro, I even been saying it though with Alec. When you watch him play, it's not like this guy can't fucking aim straight. He's just getting caught in cycles and shit. He's going through it right now. There's something off with just the whole rhythm of it all. And today they looked like they got their rhythm back. And I'm not saying that's what it looked like all year. Just they have spurts of where it looks like even in the listening he would be like, yo, let the game come to us. Sometimes FaZe is when he has people on the map that are trying to do too much. I mean, it's just gonna make his job harder. So it's about coming together as a squad and doing it all together. As long as they work together, the whole team is gonna shine. As long as they fucking play as a unit, they're chilling. But let's get into the fucking standings. New York can do it. They can fucking do this shit.
Yeah,
they really need Florida to lose.
So
right away.
They play Florida. So
I'm assuming they beat them, but I'm saying they really need them to lose right away. Because if Florida loses and losers right away, Ben, then New York's just got to win one more, right? Even if it's through losers, and they're in.
So New York situation now is, I wouldn't say it's straightforward, but they need to either win or get top 2. Thieves also needs to kind of help them out in some of these situations.
Wait, third is 30 points, no?
Or
Like
if they get third, that's all they need. I thought.
No, but I think they lose.
It's only 30 points.
Every win.
No, it's got to be more than that.
It's every win in the winners bracket 20
40
points.
points for third.
It's
40 points for third.
40
Oh yeah,
points.
so they're good if they beat Florida and Florida loses.
No, because
right?
I think they don't. I don't think they have tiebreakers on.
They don't need tiebreakers.
It wouldn't matter. They would be 8. If they get 40 points, they're at 170, and Florida would lose again and be at 160. They'd be out.
Yeah.
Because
that matches for top 3.
Who do they drop into? I think Florida drops in a. Do they drop in a? They drop in a FaZe side.
No. You guys are. They already have some points baked in here, guys.
Already added. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
so
right,
they
start at 110.
They'd be at 150. So they have to win one more. You're right.
Yeah.
I forgot they added. So.
Yeah, I mean, so
do you know for sure that they don't have the head-to-head against Florida? That would surprise me if they don't. But
I mean, they got fucking owned when they had their old roster.
Yeah,
they were getting fucking owned.
They're getting shit on.
So I mean, the scenarios tomorrow are pretty straightforward. So Thieves win, and you're clinching champs. That's pretty straightforward. There's also a bunch of other ways that they can qualify, but that's the most simplest. Florida can clinch champs if they beat New York. But if they lose to New York and they get top 3,
I'm assuming they lose.
Bunch of other stuff.
Are we all assuming they lose? I think
Florida.
Yeah, dude. I think it would be insanity if they beat New York. In terms of like who's looked good and who's looked bad, like I don't see a world where New York lose.
I don't know,
I
man.
don't know, New York was sketchy,
concern-
man. Their win was sketchy as fuck,
Yeah.
dude.
Well, they were playing Rokkr. I mean, Rokkr just went game 5 against Optic,
Yeah,
and
you're
like
right,
it
you're
wasn't
right,
too
you're right.
sketchy. Like
My concern with New York, Pat, is that Florida's the better S&D team than them, and I could see a way that Florida like 2-3-5 this series.
I just don't see them winning a respawn, bro. But I mean, I guess that could be possible. Like you gotta think too that like they went 3-2, Tom, but like Crim and Hydra legit were playing with their eyes closed in the first 2 maps.
They were fucking winded out
Like,
in the
bro,
walkouts.
they were legit playing with their eyes closed for 2 full
That's not right,
maps.
Pat. That's not right,
Crim
man.
was
They had,
catching
like,
his breath for full 2
2.
maps.
Yeah, like I think if they come out and play their game, have they played the Pro Lamp, have they been playing online, they should beat this Florida team. But are we all kind of in agreement that we think Thieves is going to qualify over Mutineers, like higher, like outplace Mutineers basically?
Yeah. I mean, let me take a look at the bracket one more time.
Because I think even if they fall, like let's say Thieves and Florida both fall in losers, I have more faith in Thieves to make a run down there.
Whatever. Now 170.
Florida's just a wild card, bro.
I mean, that's a hard question, bro. Because I don't.
Florida's
I have
just a
no. They're
wild card.
playing Ultra. I feel
Like to me, it comes
tomorrow's
down to
gonna
it's
be
either
rough.
going to be Florida or New York. That's going to be the 8th seed.
Yeah.
My, my concern for Thieves,
I agree
Pat,
with you, Pat. I agree with you.
my concern for Thieves in Toronto is they go down to the Optic side of the bracket. It flips in.
I think that helps
3.
them. I think that helps them. I don't know. I feel like that's a good matchup if they fall to play Optic.
Instead of FaZe, I mean, the last
Yeah,
time they did play FaZe on LAN, it was one-sided. But didn't they like?
Well,
Yeah,
I think they just beat FaZe, and I don't think FaZe was hot at all, and I don't think they'll beat them again. So I think they're better off
So-
playing Optic, especially with Optic looking the way they are in control and respawn. Especially, I think Thieves would capitalize that with how they're playing.
Well, let's take a look at tomorrow's matches. We got Optic versus Boston, LAT versus Toronto, New York versus Florida, and then obviously we'll see what the fuck happens next. But let's go through predictions real quick. I got Optic over Boston. I think a gritty series is what they needed. I think they needed a little bit to find that grit again, to find that like tournament momentum. So for me, I think that was a good win today. I think bouncing back into map 5, they'll go into it feeling good. LA Thieves versus Ultra. This one's tough for me, man. I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen in this one. I'm having a hard time with it. I'll probably go with Toronto Ultra in this one.
Yes, sir.
I think Ultra's gonna take that. I just feel like when Ultra's on point, they're just gonna be a step ahead. But I don't know. The thing with LA Thieves is like one day they look fucking insane. I'm like, holy shit, Kenny's fucking World War II's back. Envoy's fucking flanking, dropping 40. Octane's beaming all of a sudden. He's doing his fucking thing again, the human turret. Then the next day, I don't know what it just falls apart. So I'm like, forget about that. I'm just gonna go with Ultra. I feel like if both teams are playing at their best, I can see Ultra taking it, and then I got New York over Florida. So Pat, you go next.
Yeah, so for me, I got Optic beating Boston. I think it's a tough one here because Boston again can't afford to play Gav, and I think on a square up with Optic on those other maps, I think Optic has the advantage, and so Boston could win. I think for Boston to win this, it has to be a 2-3-5. So I think Optic wins this one. I think Ultra beat the Thieves. For me, Thieves played like peak COD yesterday. Like that was the best they've ever played in Vanguard ever. And I don't think we'll see that again. I think that was like, if you're talking about a team, that was the peak performance.
It's hard, Pat, because I feel like LA Thieves, like, I almost want to take it back, but I don't. I just feel like Kenny and Envoy have been playing a lot better, like a lot more consistent. Like I feel like they're hitting form right now.
But I don't think they'll play as good as they did, and especially looking at like Ultra and S&D and ability to just kind of sneak out respawns. I just think they'll have the edge unless Thieves comes and plays how they did yesterday. Then Thieves wins this for sure.
Thieves' S&D has looked really good. Like I want to say like almost not really good, but like lately it's been a huge improvement.
But they're still we're seeing them on their best map. Like
yeah,
I would hope Ultra don't play them on Tuscan. Like. I would hope not.
That's the hardest one. The LA Thieves Toronto is the hardest
Tuscan.
one. I have no idea what's gonna happen in that one. I have no idea.
The third one I think is clear cut. I think New York white or walkover Mutineers.
All right, go ahead, Chris. You up next?
I want to say Optic, but I still can see a real possibility of Boston pulling it out because looking at the map pool, I think if Boston avoids Kabuto, they're in pretty good shape to have a pretty competitive respawn map pool versus Optic. And it's just, to me, this is one's going to come down to the battle of the S&Ds, man. I think both Boston and Texas have a really good S&D foundation, so this one honestly could go either way, but I'm still going to give the slight edge to Optic here. LA Thieves, I think LA Thieves is playing really good this tournament. I think this is probably LA Thieves tournament to make a good run and start playing better. I think they've got a pretty good handle on their S&D. I think bar the series where they played FaZe online and they had those two really bad S&Ds, they've looked a lot better in S&D. They look pretty damn reliable. They're making a lot less mistakes. So I think that this is their tournament to make a decent run. I think they're going to beat the Ultra, probably like 3-1. And then I want to say New York. I'm going to go with New York because I just want them to make the run. I want them to make the Cinderella story and to kind of like realize that crazy run of matches won to make it into champs. So.
Yeah, I mean, we got a fun weekend ahead of us. To be honest, these matches have been fucking insane. So maybe it is one of the best majors ever. I don't even know. It has been a really, really entertaining.
Oh, hold up!
weekend.
I don't get to do predictions. What the?
Oh, my bad, Ben. Fuck. Go ahead, Ben. You're up next.
So I got Optic Texas first match. You know,
It's late.
It's all good. It's all
late.
good.
It's very late. 12 hours now.
think
We've been live for 12 hours here.
I think, listen, we're gonna have our first 3-0 of the day right here. Love Zen the boys, but the crowd behind Texas first match. I just feel bad. I've been trying to talk myself into Thieves winning the series. They played really good on Thursday, but these two teams have played a lot. It's really even every time they score up. If Thieves play the way they did in S&D yesterday, this could be really close. But if it's the way these have played like in the past, I feel like Toronto's going to take this one. New York, Florida. Florida's super unpredictable, but I just feel like New York crowd on their side. I really, to Chris's point, I really want to see New York win this. So on that end, and then here's my kind of curveballs. I know we didn't do the last two series, but I honestly have Thieves beating Optic Texas if it face off against each other.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I do too.
I do too. Why you say that?
I Thieves. I'm really worried about.
I don't think it's
Optic's
I don't think it's that bad of a take. I think these are really good.
I'm really worried about Optic's control in a series against
that
Thieves.
side is better.
I'm really worried about Optic and his Thieves have improved in S&D. They're the better control team than Optic is. It's probably 50-50 in hardpoint. Oddly enough, if you look up all the game modes, Thieves probably has the advantage in that matchup right now.
Yeah, I mean, you just flipped the fucking coin, to be honest, on that one. I'm surprised you think it's gonna be like that clean. You know what I'm saying? I think it's gonna. I think there's gonna be a series that just goes down to the fucking.
I gotta go get the door, so you guys are good to keep going and end the show. Basically, I'll be back.
All right, brother. Go do what you gotta do, man. But I don't think it's a bad take, Ben. I think LATs are a good team. I think they've improved a lot. I expect them to come out firing tomorrow, but I don't know. I feel like Toronto, they're a good team, man. When they're firing on all cylinders, they're clutch. They're icy, man.
I'm calling it now.
Clutch.
Top 4 of this event will be. Oh, okay, ready? It's gonna be Subliners, FaZe, Ultra, Thieves. That's my top 4.
That order?
Yeah, that order.
Yeah,
Do you think so? You'd have New York winning?
Yeah, I have New York winning.
Okay, New York, FaZe, Ultra, Thieves. Third, fourth. Interesting. What about you, Ben? Who's your top 4?
Ben?
Hey, he's there. He's pondering.
Okay.
I see him pondering over there. I'm letting him think. I'm letting him think about this one.
The problem is I don't know who the fuck's gonna win this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, bro. It's so hard. This is like the hardest shit ever.
I can't talk about something, dude. It honestly is like I've never seen an event like this where all the teams left in this, and I include Florida. Like all have upside into winning this tournament.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't know, but Ben, why don't you come sink this fucking putt, baby? Because a lot of people are in the chat. A lot of people are in the chat right now, and they have a lot of points on you, brother. Like a lot. So you better hit this shit. And Chris just came back too, so you gotta make sure you don't miss, man. You can't miss right here. Oh wait, I'm moving the wrong cam. Wow, I am fucking faded, bro. Boom. Boom. Set it up. Ben Jane is seeing, ladies and gentlemen.
I thought you were setting up the table for us.
Hey, it's a 2 a.m. putt from Mr. Ben J. Fucking Jesus Christ, Ben.
What?
Yo,
Jeez,
he's got the
Damn,
Haggy
son.
going.
get your ass on the camera.
He's got the Haggy caught champ swing going.
He's got the dogs out too. Jesus, get those things away from me, bro. He's gonna step up to the green or the white tile. And he's got, holy shit! Holy fuck, what the? He sunk that shit!
Damn.
Hey, Ben, hey, come on, Ben. Let's go. Hey, that was clean. That was fucking clean. All right, Ben, all right, sheesh. I'll give it to him. It's hard to putt on the tile. It's not easy, man. But, hey, good job, Ben. You're killing it, bro. Hey, Pat, Chris, any final thoughts before we end it? Going into tomorrow. Any final thoughts, man?
Tomorrow is about to be fucking wild, son.
I just hope tomorrow's not as long as today, son.
It's
These
gonna be.
easy to-
It's
these
gonna
easy
be.
to get some 3-0s in them.
Yeah, matter of fact, let's end the show so Val's can get it uploaded for everybody over in overseas and shit, man. Let's just end it. Thank you guys so much for fucking tuning in. Fucking appreciate every single one of you guys. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, anchor.fm/theflank. Check out all the audio sites that we're on and go to @theflank on Twitter. Gert's doing a phenomenal job running socials. Take care, brush your hair, and we'll see you guys next time on another episode of the fucking Flank, man. Peace out.
Have a good day.